I grew up in the Bronx, and most of the people I grew up with, you know, were criminals, were gangsters. So growing up in the Bronx, your whole environment is crime. I spent most of my childhood visiting federal prisons from 5 to 40, continuously for 25 years. I've been in every federal prison institution as a 5-year-old visiting, and then as I visited since I was a kid, I would meet all these people, all the gangsters and all the guys that were in jail. So as I would go to my grandfather was sentenced to 60 years in prison, and he did 30 straight. So
for what?
He was part of the French Connection, the big heroin dealing in the 60s and 70s. And so he was sentenced to, he got 60 years, he did 30. So for 30 straight years, I visited him. And then as I was visiting these prisons, I would meet all the guys that are in there, and they were all gangsters. And they ended up liking me. So when they would get out, they'd be like, hey, whatever you need, blah, blah. So that's how I started really formulating my street life. My father was killed when I was 3. My mother went off on a tangent. So I was just on the streets from 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
What does it mean your mother went off on a tangent?
She was alcohol and disappeared, and for a while I was with my grandmothers for a while and different houses, growing up. So, but I basically would just live with my 2 grandmothers on and off, different grandmothers, 2 different ones, and I would just walk around the neighborhoods by myself, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. So the good thing about that was, one, I wasn't jaded by anybody's opinions because no one ever gave me any. Well, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's why I never voted in my life. I didn't go to school. I went to 5th grade. No one asked me, "What are you doing?" As 5, 6, 7, I would just walk around the neighborhoods. Never went to school. Never did anything. So I never knew politics because no one showed me, "Hey, these are politics." I never knew racism, because I grew up in the Bronx, and as a dealer on the streets, as a hustler, you deal with everyone. Everybody's the same color. So I never knew the difference between a Jewish person, a black person. Everybody was just one to me. So I was never jaded in that way of labeling people. It was always like, hey, you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. That's why I have such a diverse group of people around me, because I never knew that until I got to LA. When I moved to LA, I moved to Venice, and I watched gang guys shooting each other. I'm like, what is going on here? I go, wow, you could all be making money. That was always my mindset. And that's what happened.
The collaborative mindset.
Well, as a kid, as I told you, I would walk around these neighborhoods in the Bronx. And I lived in so many different places that each neighborhood I would make friends with 20 kids, young kids. And as we got older, everyone knew me. So when we settled it, my mother finally came around at 11 years old. We got an apartment in the Bronx, and unfortunately, fortunately, the building I moved into, there was 4 or 5 kids with no fathers as well. So we just bound together, 10, 11, 12 years old, when we became this little, couple of dudes who just stuck together, to guide our way too. So as we started growing up, we just learned streets because everyone was connected in some way. So it's all we knew how to do was hustle. And I tell people now, if my family or friends out there that were older were teaching me if they were doctors, I might have been a doctor. But they were all gangsters. So what they were teaching me was how to be a gangster, but they weren't doing it. I'm going to teach you, maliciously. They were going, hey, this is what we know, so we want you to be, this is what we know. How do you not do this? How do you not do that? So everything I was taught was unintentionally intentional. Does that make sense? They weren't teaching me to be a gangster. They were saying, all right, well, this is all we know, so we're going to give it to you. So that's why I look at a lot of the guys that taught me all these crimes when I was 10, they were 20. They weren't doing it to teach me to be a criminal. They were teaching me to be on the streets, to be a power. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like, oh, and you're going to be a gangster. So that's why I look at it now. And again, if they were different people, I would have been something different. So I went to 5th grade because I never went to school. I used to go to the movies at 5, 6, 7 years old. That's how I got into it. And when I would sit in my grandmother's basement, I would watch TV, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I would fixate on the TV. The Odd Couple, The Jeffersons, All in the Family, all these great TV shows throughout the 70s. I'd be 6, 7, 8 years old watching TV. That's when I fixated on, this is what I want to do. I would sit on the edge of the bed in the basement and go, this is great. This is what I want to do. And then I would walk around the neighborhood, 7, 8. No one asked, where are you? There was no conventional family.
But what sparked that desire in you?
Watching TV.
But why?
I don't know, a getaway, an imagination. You sit there and you go, this is, I don't know. It's just, you watch something, you get attached to something.
When you're a kid, are you conscious of your lifestyle and thinking, I don't want to have this lifestyle, or this is normal?
Well, that developed because at 5, 6, 8 years old, I was always in the federal prison system visiting people, right? And at that time, it was fun. I was like this Lewisburg Penitentiary, I was like it's the hardest prison in the country. It was built in it's like a medieval. But I knew I would go in there. All the guards knew it. They were all paid. All these gangsters were there. So I would show up to the prisons, 5, 6, smuggling sandwiches, liquor to the guys. It was just normal, right? So as time went on, 5, 10, 15 years old, I started watching the misery. 5, 6, 10, you don't know. You're like, this is fun. The vending machines, all the guys laughing. But as time goes on, you see them disintegrating as people, rotting in cells, 15 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I started going at 15 years old, I started going, wow, like, this is sad. This is terrible. I go, and that's when I started realizing this is not what I want for my life. And at 10, 11, I found acting at 5 or 6, but at 11, 12 years old, I went down, I got headshots. I found a way to do it. I didn't spend a second in acting school my whole life. I didn't spend a second in film school. I spent 6th grade in regular school, right? So, and I would always want, how do I do it? How do I do it? Unconventionally, I started reading a newspaper that says auditions. Backstage, it was called. Backstage was a newspaper that had all the auditions. You would mail your headshots out. So I was like, okay, I got this magazine. They have these auditions for these things. How do I do this? And then I would open Backstage and it would say, get headshots. I would go downtown, take a Manhattan Express to Manhattan from the Bronx. I would meet a photographer. I would give him $200 because I was making money on the streets. This is at 11 years old. I was hustling on the streets.
What are you doing at 11 years old on the
Selling
streets?
shit.
What was your first hustle? And at what age?
10, 11, selling weed.
How do you even get weed at 10,
come
11?
on.
At 10, 11?
I just told you in my neighborhood, everyone's a criminal. So as 15 years old came around, yeah, you could buy anything in my neighborhood. Still till today, probably. I mean, I haven't been there in 30 years, but you could buy anything back in my days. You could buy anything. You could place any bet. You can borrow any amount of money. You can buy a kilo of heroin, or you can buy a dime bag of weed from the same people.
What are you feeling as a child?
Again, when you don't know, it's normal. If it happened at 15, you start to go, oh man, memories, I knew this is sad. But at 5, I didn't know anything. And that's where, again, I was so jaded, so unjaded, I should say. Not jaded, but unjaded, where I didn't know politics. I didn't know, I didn't know anything. So everything I did was self-taught. I learned how to judge people on how they judged you. I don't care what you are. I don't care, I don't care what label you have. Black, white, Hispanic, gay. I don't care. I never learned that. I learned, hey, you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. So I was always a people person. Again, you treat me good, I treat you good. I don't care what label what people label people, not me. So that was a thing where I kind of was happy about, because I was never judging people, because I was judging you how you were as a person. And that was a fortunate thing in my life, And then when people go, again, all my friends did 25 years, 30 of them. My grandfather and his whole gang did 35, 40 years. I'm talking in prison, not like, so as a kid, I would always be just hustling on the street. So as I got older, I started to realize, wow, this is miserable. Who suffers? Not the guy in jail, the women. I'm brought up by 3 women. That's why I related to this woman on your part, the Portos woman speaking, because I'm brought up by 3 women. All they did was teach me how to cook. That's why I was in the kitchen since 5, 6, 7 years old. I would always be in the kitchen cooking with these 3 Italian women. That was all the men are dead or in jail. So the women suffer from the prison times, not the guys. The guys are in there laughing, eating sandwiches, that whole macho thing, while the women are struggling with their 5 kids, working, eating. You can't afford stuff, So I learned the opposite side of what a tragedy jail was. Not just by you going to jail, because that's your stupidity, but the innocent victims of it are the family, the kids who don't see their families growing up, and this was forever. It wasn't like a 2-year prison term. My grandfather did 28 straight years. my friends who I grew up with. So let me get to that. So as a kid going to the prisons, I started realizing this is miserable. And that's when I started going, I don't want any of this. And that's
But no one's telling you that this isn't the life that you should lead.
They were encouraging it.
They're encouraging it, even though they're suffering the consequences. They're encouraging it. What about the women? What's the women's roles?
That's all they know as well. That's where they're from. My grandmother, was a hardcore woman as well. Beautiful, looked like Sophia Loren, but I think she did prison time growing up in the 50s.
For what?
I don't know. But my mother would always tell me these stories. So my mother everybody in that life is related to someone in that life. So it's normalized. Crime was normalized. No one ever said, don't you do that. It was like, yeah, you want to do it? I'll show you how. Again, it wasn't intentional. It was unintentional. It was to survive. These guys were teaching me survival mode, what they knew. You know what I'm saying? So I just adapted real quick. And I was always a leader. So, people always followed me, because I was always like this at 13. Same size, same aggression. I was way more aggressive back then on the streets. I was more of a real street dude, and I would just meander through the streets and find every hustle I can.
And it's so the norm that you're not resentful. It's just a part of your
life.
Right.
So when the people go, oh, your father died at 3, he was killed, that's it. I go, it's kind of not, because if he was alive, would I be in jail? Would I have been killed? Would he have led me to that path? Would my grandfather led his kids, and, my 2 uncles went to jail. That's my grandfather's sons. So would I have followed him? If I had been doing 20 years, would I have been killed, or would I have killed someone? So what happened was, I'm writing a book now called Breaking the Cycle, where in your family, everyone has some kind of tragedies or some kind of something in their lives, correct? Well, alcoholics, drug addicts, gamblers, whatever it is, whatever vice, there's some devils in people's family. That's always a something, right? If you could break the cycle for your future, for your kids, like I have a daughter, she'll never know what it is to visit me in federal prison. Thank God. Hopefully not yet, But you get what I'm saying? So I kind of broke the cycle. And that's what that's what my book is about. It's not about like anything. It's about, if you could break the cycle for future generations and they become normalized, you did a great job. And that's the way I looked at my life. So if my father was alive, would I have been in jail? Probably. Would I have been dead? Who knows?
How was your father killed?
Oh, he just shot, killed. That's the streets. And I know so many people, my friends and families, everyone. That's like the normalcy. And I'm so used to separation, because we could be sitting here today, you get 20 years, I never see you again. That's my life. You know what I'm saying? So, you walk through life, and me and you were doing everything every second of every day, and then boom, you never hear again. So I've always learned to detract. Like I could always just go, okay, but I just normalize never seeing people again. That was my life. So it wasn't like I was like, oh my God, this is tragedy. This is part of what we live in. And that was how I grew up, So again, no one ever taught me anything. No one taught me religion. How I learned how to make movies was when I started reading that backstage, and then I started getting headshots, and then I started doing this at 10, 11 years old. I started going, okay, how do I do what do I do? NYU films I started doing at 10, 11 years old, because I didn't go to acting school, because I didn't like school in general. That's why I quit at 5th grade. My mother would give us money as a kid. I would jump on the train in the Bronx, and I would go to the movie theater. And
why did you hate school so much?
I don't know.
You didn't like authority?
I just didn't like authority. Even now, I can't learn from schools. If you show me something, I'll master it. To read a book, my daughter helps me. Sometimes I'll go, what is this? Help me read some of the shit. But once you show me once, I'm in.
So then how was it reading scripts and studying scripts?
So as a kid, how I learned how to read was I found stuff that I was interested in. John Madden was a football coach of the Raiders. John Madden, he was like one of my idols growing up. All these gangster books, and I knew everybody in them. So I would buy the paperback books, and I would learn how to read what I liked. So that's how I learned how to read. I mean, I can read I can read great, but a lot of times, sometimes I'll have problems with comprehension. If it doesn't really, interest me. Yeah, it has to interest me, and I can read all day long, all night. So when I started, acting, I would read these books. That's how I learned how to read instead of school. So I would read the books. So when I would audition for NYU films, I would get the scripts, and I would go, okay, this is a different way of reading, because you're no longer reading. now everything's broken. Characters, breakdowns of scenes. So I had to relearn to read from like that perspective. You know, not just reading a book about John Madden traveling or gangsters doing stuff in books. And I knew most of the guys. So I was there. But when I started just, you know, realizing this is a different way of reading, I killed it. Because it was just me being able to go, okay, I'm this guy. Okay, and I broke it down, and that's how I learned. But I didn't go to film school, acting school. I would do NYU films. I would learn how to act for free on a real set, not in a classroom. You know, you could be in an acting school for 20 years. Why? Crying in the mirror is not going to help you. Being on a real set's going to help you. And you know why? It's a distraction of acting. Your shirt, makeup, hair, this, that. Don't move out of the light. Don't do this. Don't do this. Action. You have to comprehend 20 things within a minute. Change your lines. I got to know your lines. I got to know where I'm moving. I got to not move the light. I can't move the camera. I got the makeup, the shirt, the hair, the wardrobe. You have to process 20 things. So when I tell actors, acting is not acting in a classroom. Acting is reacting to what's happening in front of you. You know, it's the distraction is acting. If you can be distracted, you know, like right now, if they were about to shoot a serious scene, like I did on 24 on Sopranos, you're in a scene and you're about to start crying in the scene and you're going, okay. And people going, okay, here, makeup, here, okay, makeup, here. Louis, we need you to change this line. Louis, we need you not to move out of the light. Louis, you can't move too much to the left. You're comprehending the technicalities of the scene, but then you still have to keep the emotions and the acting of the scene. Does that make sense? So if it's an emotional scene like Edgar was, you got to be able to cry on cue, but you're being poked and prodded by 20 people within a second and go, okay, action. You're okay. And you're in it. So that's what most people I know have a problem with acting, is a distraction of acting, not the acting itself. Does that make sense?
Oh, of course.
You know?
When Timothy V. Murphy was here, we were talking about having lived a life before acting and how much it actually contributes
That's
to...
massive.
So
That's
you
a
brought
massive
up
thing.
Sopranos and the life that you've lived. How much of that were you able to put into Sopranos?
Well, you know, what's funny is the Sopranos, I play FBI agent. So
You're on the other end of it?
so now, as I was, my first show was like my big show was Sopranos, right? So it airs and I'm the cop, and I would get phone calls from all the prisons. I've always gotten phone calls from prisons my whole life, right? My grandfather, and they'd be like, oh my God, we're all watching you. You're the cop, huh? Do these people know who you are? I'm like, no. But it was ironic because all my buddies in prison would watch The Sopranos, and I was the cop. So they would laugh, and my grandfather would be like, that's my grandson. He's not a real cop. He plays one on TV. And it was like the running joke of I'm the cop.
Isn't there any point that you're actually going up to the writers and saying, actually, this is not how it would go down?
No, I don't tell any. Unless I don't really.
But I mean, were there moments where you felt that just from your own life that?
Yeah, I see it. And that's why most gangster stuff is comedies these days. They don't know what it is. You have guys directing gangster films that that grew up in Iowa or in some rich family. That's why I look at entertainment as such garbage these days, because you have people doing stuff that are not familiar with it or grew up with it. Not that everyone has to be. You can learn stuff, but if you're not really familiar, you know what I'm saying, and going, okay, this is what it is. This is what they don't do. What I say, I walked in, I'm like, oh, card game, this, right? I knew in 2 seconds. I used to stay in. This was my life growing up. So I could tell something in 2 minutes, you know? So, you know, when you're out there and you're just figuring it out, and that's what I did in my life, there was no, how do you say it? There was no like expectations of, okay, you're going to go vote. Okay, I never voted in my life. I still never voted in my life. You know what I'm saying? School, why? We're going to go to school. You're going to go to college. I went to 5th grade. And everyone laughed at me in the Bronx when I wanted to be an actor because everyone was a street dude. But I found it because of misery, because watching these guys suffer and burn in jail. Remember, 5 to 15 is 10 years. So as 15, you're still there. They're all getting older. Their families are dying off. Kids are on drugs. And you're watching it going, I don't find the joy in this anymore. As a kid, you didn't know. It was unknown. But as you get older, you know. And you go home and you watch all the women crying and suffering and working and killing themselves to raise 3 kids. And these guys are in prison. Where's the joy? And that's how I decided, like, I wanted something different. And that's how I broke the cycle. I found something. I go, this is great. I could do this. And I would watch The Odd Couple, and I would be like, this is what I'm going to do. At 5 years old, I'd be sitting in my grandmother's fold-out basement by myself watching TV. And that was my outlet. That was my escape. That was my escape, was the TV. And that led me to my career. 6 years later, I was old enough to jump on a bus at 11, 12. I went to Manhattan, found a newspaper that had all this information. That's how I learned. No one showed me. They're like, how did you do it? I have headshots I'll show you at 11 years old. You make no way. People go, when'd your big break, Sopranos? First of all, I've been doing it since 1980. I've done so many NYU films, so many student films. That's what launched my career. I ended up doing a student film. So I learned how to act on real sets, right? Doing all these student films, 10, 12, 13, 15. I would go down, I would learn how to act. I would get on set and I'd be like, what are you doing? Oh, we're doing this. And you're paying $100,000 a year to go to school. I'm just watching everything. I'm learning for free. You can learn if you want to. People make excuses why they don't want to learn. Oh, it's too hard. I can't do this. I figured out how to read from paperback books. I figured out how to hustle the streets from real street people. I figured out how to I figured out how to be a criminal doing it in my house. How do you weigh shit? What do you do? How do you do this? How do you do that? Here's a triple beam. That's how I learned math. One of my master skills is math. I never spent a second because I was always great with counting money, piles, man. I was always good with the triple beam scales. Boom, boom, an 8 to gram, 28 ounces. Boom, 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 boom. I would always be like a machine. That's how I learned math. Unconventional. But it paid off later in my career because now I run 3 businesses. All from that. I can count money so fast, you'd be like, what are you doing? And it's on point, every dollar. You give me figures, I'll sit there and people go, oh, it's toward $27. They'll be like, how the fuck did you get that so fast?
You focused on the important stuff
yes,
for your
money.
own life and survival. Yeah, yes. It makes sense.
And that was my biggest thing is learn what you can. No one has to teach you. You could learn. Get what interests you and learn. And that's what, so as a young kid, that's how I started with the street stuff. And then I learned that, and then I realized it was misery. I focused more on the acting, and then all my dudes who were gangsters and stuff would be like, what is that? What is acting? What are you doing? Like making fun. I'd be like, oh, shut up. Because I was always like the main guy. Yeah, and they would bust chops, but they wouldn't say anything because I'd be like, what'd you say? People would be like, no, we're just joking. Even street dudes. So I've really gunned into the acting stuff, and I really found my path, my tribe, as we'd say, right? I found, wow, NYU, look at all these kids. They love what I do. Wow, they're paying $100,000 a year to do this. I'm coming here for free? And I would start taking them out because I had money at the time, They would just be hanging out in the dorms. And I would go, let's go to the bars. Let's go here. Here's this. And they loved me. So I ended up doing 20 NYU films.
I mean, there's no blueprint to entertainment. So it's really cool that you had the confidence to pursue your dreams, even though everything around you was really discouraging you from it.
Yeah. I think, what's crazy though? The discouragement was actually a great life. I have a great life. I've had when I was a kid, even though all the tragedies and disasters, I had a great life. I love my upbringing. I tell my daughter all the time, I don't regret any of it.
Yeah, that was my question about you not being resentful.
Yeah, I love it.
Because you actually weren't really aware of how hard you had it in the beginning.
It was normalcy. And you know what? That bred me for Hollywood because growing up in such a hard environment in the Bronx, when I got to L.A., people were like, you're going to go for an audition. I'm used to going into a room with 2 dudes going, are you going to make it out of here? Like, you got to kill someone. You got to be killed, That was always my mindset. You're going to be arrested. I would go to auditions when I got out of here and go, okay, I'm not going to have anything. What's going to happen? I'm going to leave. So there was no threat. And I was great with people. You put me in a room with 100 people, old men, women, young, it didn't matter. Even till today, that's my biggest strength, is being able to adapt to every single kind of person. Again, it's because when I was young, I didn't judge people. I just said, how you treat me? You cool? I'm cool. You good with me? I'm good with you. I never looked at any kind of division. And that was my blessing, not being jaded by any...
But also the kind of perspective that a difficult life gives you. We've had guests on the podcast that have been from war-torn countries and have actually experienced
hardships,
bombings and real hardships, life and death.
Right.
And so when you come from the kind of background that you come from, if for somebody else it's like the end of the world to not get cast in a film, for you it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, I was like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'd walk into meetings with the biggest people, and I never get nervous. I don't give a shit what I'm doing. That's just not me. I'm always 100 miles an hour.
The stakes aren't so high.
What?
The stakes aren't so high for you.
But in general, I don't care if when they were high. I'd always just be, my acting school was my confidence. I was always able to walk in and exude confidence and kind of be able to talk to anyone. So when I was on the streets, that's how I made money. I'd be walking to places, just how do you deal with all these people? Hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? So people always liked me, so I was always accepted. I wasn't, I was always like a gracious, happy guy, even with the tragedies. So when I got to Hollywood, I'd go into rooms with 20 producers sitting there looking at you. You know how you go into a dinner, they'll stare at you. I'd be like, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Hey, I feel like I'm in a parole hearing was my biggest line. People would start laughing. So most of my jobs, I believe, were not just from reading the page, but from breaking the ice and showing them a personality, which the personality came from the streets of being able to hustle. You need to hustle every day. You don't hustle every day, you're going to be broke.
And also when you walk in without the desperation.
Right, yeah.
Somehow you get the gig.
And I lived in a house full of actors, all from Strasbourg. You know, Strasbourg, we're all like, ow, the coffee cup is so hot. You smell that? I'd be like, what are you guys doing? And they'd be like, you don't know because you're not a real actor. Where are the 5 actors I live with now? Strasbourg college graduates. Where are they now? 20 years later, never to be seen. And they used to tell me, you'll be all right. We'll take care of you. You do these little bit parts. Really? I started on the 3 biggest shows in TV history. Sopranos, 24, and Entourage. You guys are working construction. Nothing wrong with construction, but you were supposed to be stars. And I was supposed to be the little extra. I surpassed everyone in the world of acting that I lived with when I first got here. And they were all condescending, actors sometimes could be annoying. They're all, I don't know, they would read script after script. Me, I would get my lines. I'd go, okay, I'm on my way to an audition. Nothing. Prepare that day. And I got before Sopranos, from 93 to 2000, I did 80 movies by Oliver Stone. And it was funny because Oliver Stone was my idol growing up at NYU. He went to NYU. So I would always be like, I want to be like Oliver Stone. I would read his book. I would read Oliver Stone stuff. I want to be like Oliver Stone. Not Scorsese, not Coppola, but Oliver Stone. And I'd always be like, Oliver. Like, that's my guy. That's what I want to make films like. I did a movie called Amongst Friends from that newspaper. Remember the newspaper I told you, Backstage? I found the movie. I auditioned 1991. Mira Savino was casting it. She was no one. She was associate producer because her dad put up 15 grand. Follow me?
Servino?
Mira Savino. And she was auditioning all these people. And the woman fell out of the movie, and the director's like, why don't you be Tamira? Why don't you be in it? Since you know the lines, we have to start shooting this. She's like, okay, so she took the role. But she cast me in my first film from Backstage. 1991, we shot a little bit. 92, we shot more. But that when I was independent film, she could shoot a little. Cut to 1993. 1992, 40 of my friends got arrested.
40. Not like
my whole
2,
neighborhood
3,
wiped
4.
out.
Okay.
This is after my grandfather in the 60s and 70s. 86 guys got arrested, and that was all the prison guys when I would go. They're all top guys today. Like you watch, they're all top guys, right? So they got arrested. So in 1992, 40-something of my friends got arrested in the Bronx, wiped out the whole Bronx. Big. It was a big deal, right? And these are all my friends. So I was sitting there, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is insane. You can't go back on the streets. FBI's everywhere. You can't just do anything anymore, right? I said, what am I doing? And I look at it as an intervention. God said, hey, well, we got something. The phone rang. And they're like, hey, Louis, the director, who we shot this movie 91, 92. Now it's 1993. 2 years later, everyone gets arrested. I'm sitting on the street looking. No one's around. Phone call rings. Hey, Louis, remember that thing we shot 2 years ago? I go, yeah. He goes, it's going to the Sundance Film Festival. This was 1993. Sundance wasn't what it is today. There was folding chairs. Robert Redford was reading the things, right? He's like, hey, man, the whole cast is going. Drive, come there. Come. I was like, okay. I look out my window in the Bronx. It's a hollow town. No one's around. Everyone's gone. All my friends, lifelong friends, gone. I had $5,000 and I had my Maxim, a car I bought. And I go, I'm gone. I had enough balls or guts, whatever you want to call it, to go, I'm gonna break the cycle. I'm gonna leave this town. I got my car. I picked up the other actor I did this movie with. We went from the Bronx to LA to Venice, picked up Mira Savino, and we all drove to Sundance together, right? Get to Sundance. Now, again, I have no union card. I'm 25 years old. I never left no one leaves the Bronx. They don't break that cycle. Everyone's still there till this day. And the family, the house gave it, like construct, you know. So I said, let me do it. I did it. I get to Sundance. Boom. The film's a massive hit. No one knows. Sundance wasn't what it is. Bryan Singer was there, Robert Rodriguez, Jennifer Lynch. It was our crop of filmmakers. And our film's a big hit amongst friends. And I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. Wow, good thing I got in the car and took the shot. No one takes a shot. Everyone's afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. I'll do anything. I'll go anywhere. I'll walk in any room. So I get there. We come back from Sundance. We're like it. Our film is called Amongst Friends. It was a big hit. Sundance, oh my God, oh, this is great. Get back to L.A., the director calls me, who's my buddy, Rob Weiss, and he's like, yo, Louie, I need a ride. I go, okay, where? Because I was the only one with a car. Because I drove it from the Bronx. He's like, I need a ride to Oliver Stone's office. I'm like, this can't be real. He's like, I need a ride. Could you give me? I'll be right there. Pick him up. I drive to Santa Monica. I go in. Now, got to remember, who's my idol? Oliver Stone. Now I walk in with him and Oliver's standing there and he's like staring at me. And I'm like, wow, am I not supposed to be here? He goes, what are you doing here? I go, I just drove the thing. He goes, I know, I'm only messing with you. He goes, come in the meeting. And I'm like, holy crap, this is insane, right? I go into the meeting and he's sitting there and he's telling the director, you make any movie I got on my books, I'll make a movie for you. And I'm sitting there going, holy shit, like this is my first week in Hollywood. The guy that I want to be with is the guy sitting here.
Wow.
Right? And this is when Oliver was Oliver, like 93 was like Oliver Stone. And he looks at me and he goes, hey man, I love your look. I'm going to put you in my next movie. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. The movie was Natural Born Killers. That's how I got my SAG card to Oliver. Now there's a guy, what do you call that? Projecting or manifesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've been manifesting since I'm
Crazy.
12.
First week that you're in Hollywood.
I'm with a guy who I was speechless because I didn't know what he looked he looked like a lunatic, but he loved me. And 6 months later, I get a script, Natural Born Killers. They fly me to Chicago. They're like, Oliver, don't know where he wants to put you. He just wants you in the movie. I was like, okay. I get to Chicago, 2 months, hanging out with Robert Downey, Woody Harrelson, Oliver Stone, everyone. This is my initiation into Hollywood. They paid my union card. That's how I got SAG to Oliver. And I made friends with Robert Downey, who was the sweetest person in the world. And that was when he was addicted, really. And he was still the sweetest person to everyone. And they just took me in. Every night I hung out with them, like personally. To bars, restaurants, clubs. Every night Downey took me out with him. And I would hang out with Oliver and everybody in this movie. And that was my initiation. And then when I got back from that, after 2 months of filming in a real prison with real convicts, ironic or what? Because that's what I've been doing my whole life, right? But now I'm the god in the prison. Ain't that weird? Talk about ironic. My first from the streets being prisons my whole life. Now I'm filming in a real prison, Joliet prison, with the roundhouse, real convicts are the extras, and the convicts loved me. The convicts were like, oh my God, Louis, we want to be Louis's god. Because I was in the casinos. I would walk the prisoners and, and I played Tommy Lee Jones's deputy in the prison. So I'm always with Tommy Lee. So all the convicts knew me. So one convict was like, yeah, I grew up, I'm from D.C. Young Muslim black guy, right? Short guy. And everyone would be, when he walked through the prison walls, people would be like, back up. Everyone. He's like, I want Louis as my god. And everyone's like, okay. No one messed with him. So I'm hanging out with the guy. Hey, man, his name was Aku. I'm like, what's up, Aku? How you doing? He's like, hey, brother. He used to call me Brother Louis. I go, he said something about Lewisburg. I go, Lewisburg? I go, that's where my grandfather was. He's like, who? I told him. He went, you're kidding me. I go, no way. He goes, that's my man. I went, what? He goes, that's my man. My grandfather was his buddy from prison.
Oh, wow.
That was it. I walked through Joliet prison like I was Aku. Every cell I was in, I'm like, what am I doing in here? They would shut you want some, pull whiskey out of the bed, a toilet bowl? I'd be like, no, I don't want anything. Here, you want any weed to take them? No, I don't want anything. Smuggling out of the prison, not in.
My God, but also just how crazy that the life that you lived that was so far removed from Hollywood, somehow then it becomes
came back.
Intertwined.
That's right. That's what I mean.
Full circle.
Yes. So now, not only am I visiting every single day of prisons, But now I'm in it, filming a movie, playing a guard. When now I understand it. Now, and you know what that did? That really gave me the revelation that I never want to be in prison. It was so bad, that prison. So it was almost like I saw it early on with the misery, and then I'm filming in a prison, and I saw the horrificness of it. And that's what really was like, I will never commit a crime again. I don't really want to. Look where I am. So now I'm in a real prison, filming with real convicts who know my family from prison. And that's how I launched my career from Oliver Stone. And then after he hired me, right? John Landis, Tim Burton, Ivan Reitman, Bryan Singer were my next 10 directors. These all put me in their movies. So that's how I did so many movies in the 90s. Sopranos wasn't until 2000. People go, what's your big break? Sopranos. I did 70 movies before Sopranos with massive directors. And what I did was, it was my film school. So I'd be on set with Oliver, and Bob Richardson was his cinematographer. These are Oscar-winning people. Why are you doing that? Come here, Louis, I'll show you. So I got a crash course, not only from NYU, that bred me for Hollywood, but I also got a crash course from the biggest people in the business teaching me. Because I'm a question asker. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do this? I asked my daughter, if I have a problem, I'll call you. 2 minutes. Don't text me. I'll call you. Explain. I want to know. I want to know information. I don't want to read stuff. I don't want to comprehend. I want to talk and figure it out. That's what I was telling you earlier. Mm-hmm. And turns out I would work on all these massive directors, right? And all their cinematographers were massive, Oscar-winning guys. Every one of them. And I would learn. How do I do? Why do we do this? They would come out and they loved it. So they would all teach me. So I got a massive education after NYU, which I got a massive education in the beginning, but then the secondary part of being in Hollywood, dealing with all these people who were loving teaching me. And that's how I really started learning how to make movies. Like every tech, the lighting, the thing, and that's when I told you the distraction of acting, it was really important.
But is it just linear success as soon as you get your first break, or are there frustrations at any point?
There's always frustrations in life, but I always tell my daughter, everything is going to crash. We don't focus on the problem. I say this to her, everybody. We focus on the solution. If we know the problem is set. We don't keep going back to the problem. You create the solution for every problem.
So what did you feel was a disadvantage at that time, at that point in your career?
Of what? Being in LA or being in New York?
When you started working with the people that you dreamt of working with, did you ever feel like...
No, not one bit of disadvantage. It was all positively, massive advantage. Not one negative in anything. Mm-hmm. Even if something didn't go your way, it was a positive. Why? Because you learned from it.
Would you change anything now looking back?
Nothing. Even my street life in the Bronx. Even everybody disappearing as a kid.
I mean, would you have been as good of an actor had you not lived that life?
No. And I wouldn't have been able to sustain the negativity of Hollywood because I dealt with the negativity of the streets in a hardcore way. Every day, every minute of every second. Death, jail, people going and coming, OD. And I see more people get killed in OD than most people have friends today. Most people I know OD'd. Most people I know went to jail. Most people I know got killed. Never found again. Bodies buried, never found. You know what I'm saying? So,
are you still connected to that life at all? Do you have any
I'll
of the
always be
same
connected
friends?
to it because that's my family. That's my family.
You're so close to them. You're so close to the friends and family from the Bronx.
Yeah. I got to say, people look at street people and go, oh, this guy's terrible. No, a lot of these people weren't terrible. A lot of these people were guys who were hustling the streets and got caught up and got sentenced to long prison terms. If they would have got 5 years instead of 20, first-time nonviolent drug offenders, sell a kilo of coke or heroin, you get 20 years, especially if it's a direct sale to an agent. You know what I'm talking about? So if you have a direct kilo and you go to a direct agent, it's a direct sale. You know what I'm saying? That's a long prison term, especially with heroin. So a lot of these guys got caught up on the streets. Not I'm saying they're not innocent. I'm not saying they don't deserve prison time. That's not what I'm saying.
But it's a nuanced issue. And
you're giving people 20 years. You got guys that have killed 10 people that are walking the street. You got rapists and pedophiles doing no time. But you got a guy selling drugs doing 20 years. Think about that. And a lot of my friends were good people. My family, great people. They just got caught up on the streets. And I was fortunate enough. And you want to know how I got away? We're doing we were working on a show with MGM right now. And Swizz Beatz is my executive producer. You know who that is?
Yeah, of course.
Chris Brancato, who does golf. These are my executive producers. It's a show I created about my life growing up in the Bronx, called Small Time, right? And I was working with my friends, and I was hustling with them, and I was helping my buddy out. And he goes, this guy's making $50,000 a week when we started at the Pinnacle, 15, 16, 17. These are my friends, not me, my guys. So I was trying to help my buddy out and helping him work with him. Well, yeah, just make $1,000 off you. I never said I just get him. He goes, so one day he's sitting there, he's counting $50 every week. He goes, oh yeah, how much you make off me? I go, $1,000. I thought he was going to say, oh man, really? Here. He goes, you make $1,000 off me? I went, yeah. You're going to high five me? I thought he was going to be like, yeah. Meanwhile, everybody else is robbing the shit out of you. I knew every once in a while he was making $1,000. He goes, man, that's messed up. He goes, a week later, he goes, I don't need you anymore. He went behind my back, stole my guys for $1,000. That when he did that, the FBI started watching them all. And that's how I got separated. So people go, how did you get away? That's exactly how. For $1,000 saved my life. Or else I'd have been the guy at the FBI giving it this, watching. And they all got pinched because they were all in the street corners, dealing in the street. I sort of, you know how I knew this?
So you got lucky that he was greedy.
Was it lucky, or is it part of the cycle of karma or whatever it may be? Is it luck? Maybe. But is it somebody looking out for you, like the higher ups, like I said with the movie that got made, or 2 years later, everybody gets arrested, I'm going to Sundance? Did that happen to be? That wasn't planned. You get it? So everything happens for a reason, whether it's luck, circumstance, or whatever. So the kid cuts me out. You know how I found this out? These are my boys. Oh, these are my brothers. We're brothers. We're that. But when money came in, greed destroyed everything. Greed is like cancer. Once you get it, you're done. So I learned that from the streets. So they cut me out. When they all got arrested, like I told you, I saw the indictments and the pictures. And these are my buddies who hated the other people who were my friends. These guys knew that. It would have been a disaster. But they phonies, and they were like, oh, yeah, went behind my guy. They started, took him. They had photos of him in the street, so I started seeing the pictures. And I was like, wow. You guys are fucking, you guys are not, this is terrible. This is what but it was turned out to be the best thing of my life. Because they got arrested. I got to make a break and break the cycle. That's when I got my car, I told you, a year or two later, and went to Sundance. But how weird is that? 2 years, you do a movie, little bits, all of a sudden it becomes the biggest thing in the history of movies. Sundance, it was massive. Mira Sorvino became a massive star from it. You get it? So you look at stuff, does it happen for a reason? Does it happen for luck? Whatever it happens, it happens. And again, when there's a problem, don't focus on the problem. Focus on the solutions. Every single time. So my solution was leave. Okay, I got away because my friends got greedy. They all did 25 years. And so as a prison, when I was telling you, Peter would call me, you're the cop! I'd be like, yep. And a lot of them I didn't talk to for a long time, for 5-6 years while they were in jail. But I knew everyone in jail because why? I've been visiting since I'm 5. So when they would go to jail, all my friends and family would call me, guys that I knew, hey, you see this guy, your friend from the Bronx? I go, yeah, he was my friend, because making their time easier. You know, people I knew ran the system. My grandfather ran the system for 30 years. You know, he was the godfather of prisons. I don't mean godfather like the God Don Corleone, but this guy, it was like being in the Bronx for him. So all these guys would be like, yeah, they used to call me Ducky. They'd be like, yeah, Ducky's, we're Ducky's friends. Now, you're in a hardcore federal prisons, and so they use my name. So when they would call me to check up and go, well, you know this guy? Yeah, he's in my brothers. But what happened, what happened? And thank God they did that, because I wouldn't be on outside calling you. I wouldn't be the Soprano cop. I'd be in jail with you in the next cell. So, and that's the way, that's my show is the story we did. And all these guys are attacked because they get it. But, you know, you keep moving. You don't sit down and cry and complain about everything. Everybody who dies, everybody who goes to jail, everybody who gets sick. That's part of life. You know what I'm saying? I'm a realist. I'll tell you, when I die, I want to be cremated and thrown in the river. I tell my daughter, it's like, okay, no, that's where I want to be. You know, I don't want to be like, you know, I don't want people coming to my fucking funeral. I don't want a funeral. I don't want anyone. I never go to funerals. I can't stand funerals. If I know you like this and me and you were doing this, God forbid something happens, I don't want to see somebody in a box. Why Why would I want to take away these memories of me and you like this? I'm talking about my street people, the family. Get what I'm saying? So I kind of took a different path, unconventional reality in everything I've done. Learning how to act, learning how to make movies, being in Hollywood, never spent a second in class. These Strasbourg guys would struggle and couldn't get roles. I'd walk in going, I'm on my way.
You're Italian, right?
Yeah.
What part of Italy was your family
Both
from?
of my sides are from it. We're Napolitan, Calabrese. Both of my families are from Italy, so it's hard to really pinpoint. I've never been, which the people hate that when they hear that.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm a cook. So anyway, everything ties back in, right? So I'm learning from 3 Italian women at 5, 6, 10 years old how to cook, right? If I didn't become an actor, I probably would have opened 100 restaurants because that was my passion. You got to have a passion. You don't have a passion in life, you have nothing, right? I don't care what it is. You find something that lights your fire, you got to go with it.
100%.
Right? I'm a passionate guy with certain things, and I go learn. So all these years, I'm learning to cook. So now I go to Hollywood, boom. I'm doing movie after movie after movie. My career's starting to blow up. And thank goodness it's still blowing up, right? I'm still here 33 years later in Hollywood. So all that cooking stuff, I didn't open the restaurants, and I'm like, man, I have a great career. I'm in Japan. I'm in London. I'm flying all over the world. 5th grade. No experience in acting school, nothing. I'm all over the world, hanging out with Robin Williams, Robert Downey, every major director. I'm learning. So I go, okay. Now, cut to 5 years ago, all that cooking stuff that I loved and had passion for, right, when I was a kid, right, watching my grandmother singing in the kitchen, cooking, I'd be fascinated. I'd be watching. This is what I want to do before, with the acting. But it's like, it's what I wanted to do was food.
Is she singing in Italian or
Yeah,
in
just
English?
singing, walking through. She was great, my grandmother, right? My mother's mother. Great. So
Italian
and she's the one who waited 30 years for my grandfather, and the year he got out, she passed away of cancer.
Oh.
Yeah. But, you look at loyalty. There is no more loyalty. So she waited all those years, brought up 5 kids. My mother, my aunt, her 5 kids. She had 4 kids. My mother had 3 boys. My grand had 3. Everybody had boys. So she passed away after waiting for him, right? So all the years, I learned how to cook. You think it's just going, I cook. I have a daughter, right? What do? We have a food business. Everything I learned as a dad with kids, as my grandmother's, when 5, 6, me and her would be cooking. Young. She's been cooking with me since she's 5. Now what? Now we have an extremely successful food business.
Continuing the beautiful side of the cycle.
Right, exactly. So all that stuff you thought was gone because it didn't work, you didn't do it early on in life, but secondary part of my career, which is now, is the food business, which we're destroying. We're having a great time. And the name of the company is AVALOU. My daughter's Ava, I'm Lou. That's our pizza company. So that all came back. So nothing I did in my life was a waste. Watching these women cook. I didn't open 10 restaurants back then, but now we have it now.
Are you having to approach business the same way that you approached acting, where you're just learning, learning on the job?
I learn on the job. Didn't spend a second in business school.
Where do you start? So you have your family recipes that you're using?
Yeah.
And then the business...
She'd be cooking with me. My daughter be cooking with me at 5. I have her in the crib making pizzas at 5, 6. I have photos. And now my daughter, I taught to do the business stuff. So she runs the register. She does the taxes. She does this. She at 16, 17. Now she's 19. She'll be 20 this week. And she's been doing all of the tech. So she's getting a business school firsthand. Firsthand, being on the truck, doing it all. Well, I do the pizzas. My partner does the ovens. So we created this massively good, but it all came from what? 5 years old, watching the 3 Italian women cook. And that passion never died. It got stronger. And now we have this massive, great business.
Reminded me of Nona's. Did you watch Nona's on Netflix?
Yeah,
with Joe Manganiello?
Yeah,
it was so great.
I loved it. Vince Vaughn, right?
Yeah.
It was great.
It was a beautiful movie.
It reminded me growing up, like my neighborhood, everybody was close and tight,
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about like I'll give you an example. Like the thing about the prisons and all these guys that were in jail together, we would caravan to Lewisburg, all the families, 30, 40 people. There's 20 guys in jail, every family, all their kids, all their wives, so when we would go back, all these people were like our families. We'd go to each other's houses and cook and eat because we had this bonding of prison. You know what I'm saying? All the kids. They're still around, most of them, but these are kids that 5, 6, 8, 10, we were in the prison system together visiting, right? Now, you know, they're doing what they do, but we all had this bonding, and we would all show up to the prison together, rent the whole entire hotel, wreck it, have fun, eating these little diners, like in the Amish diners in Pennsylvania, and we would all caravan in cars, 10 cars on our way to the prisons. This was for 20 years.
What a life.
Yeah. So, okay.
Did you have other Italian friends?
Yeah. Yeah, but again, growing up in the Bronx, again, we had such a diversity of people. Like, I was friends with Black, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, Irish, Jewish, and I didn't know the difference in like religions or anything. I just judged you how you were. So I never looked at a color or a label. I was always just like, oh, this guy's cool, bring him in. Mm-hmm. You know, my mother worked at IHOP for 30 years. My mother was a waitress at IHOP, and she had 3 god kids that were African American from the waitresses that loved her. They call her Mama Joe. So she was godmother to 3, you know, African American kids. Like, they would come to our house, all of them. My mother would just feed everyone. And we continue that. You know, when I moved to LA, I continued that. I had a house in Santa Monica, and before everyone was famous would come to my house. Vince Vaughn, Leonardo DiCaprio, told me, everyone, Michael Rappaport, all these, before they were famous, 93. House of Pain. All these guys would come to my house. I had a big house in Santa Monica, and we were paying like $300 a month each. We were sharing it with the four Strasberg actors. So I would cook, and I would teach them how to cook. I have videos. Back in 93, I had this big video camera that I documented everything. My whole trip out here, 91, 93, the car, and in the house we had, I would video all this stuff, all the actors in around the table. Now they're all famous. Massively.
You've known so many people before they were famous and now they're super successful. Right. What would you say is the common denominator between all of them that made them successful? Because you have that life experience where you've observed what separates.
Well, a lot of them had hardships in their lives. A lot of them didn't have the conventional life. So they kind of realized the struggle is what makes you successful. Because when you struggle enough, and you don't want to struggle anymore, if you don't give up and you don't want to struggle anymore, you figure it out. I say this to everyone. No one is coming to save you. I tell my daughter that, except me. But all my friends go, yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I go, no. Today is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. No one's coming to save you. So if you don't do it now, you're just procrastinating. And that's my biggest thing in life. If I have a thing right now, good or bad, I'm on the phone. You text me, I call you. I want to hear news, good or bad, immediately. You know why? Because then the problem's over. Now we figure the solution.
The solution, yeah.
That's it. When you start harping the problem, well, the car broke down. I was stuck. I don't want to hear about the car broke down. How do we fix the car and how do we get it moving? That's my life.
That seems to be the common denominator between successful people. You're proactive and you're an optimist to some extent, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have to believe things are going to work out or can work out so that you can work toward that goal. Otherwise, if you're just like, oh, this sucks, this is so bad, what are we going to do?
Life.
It's already done.
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm always like, it can happen. Yeah. Everything. You know, I told my daughter, it can happen. It's going to happen. And if you put enough energy and enough enthusiasm and enough positivity towards stuff, it will happen. It will.
Are there people from your childhood from that life that became famous or super successful?
Yes.
Who?
You ever watch Sopranos?
Of course.
Remember Big Pussy, the guy?
Yeah.
You know how long I know him? I'm going to show you a video after this. You know how long I know Big Pussy?
How long?
I was 11 years old. He tells a story. You know what you know how I know him?
How?
He tells the story on the podcast, so it's not like me. He owned a bar. He was a bar guy in New Rochelle, near the Bronx, where I lived. And 10, 11 years old, I would go to his bar and collect money from him. He says it. Louis, and who would know? 30 years later, we're starring on the biggest show together. But I would go, you know, he was a street guy, Vinny. So I would go to his bar and say, oh, where's our money? And then I would hang out there all night at 10, 11, 12 years old, 13 years old.
Wow.
And that's how he tells stories. Like, Louis used to come to my bar and shake me down at 11 years old.
And then when you reconnect in Hollywood, What's that first meeting like?
But I still stood friends with him because we were friends over the years. But
So you stayed in touch after?
yeah,
Okay.
neighborhood guys.
Did you know that he's acting too?
Well, he didn't stop. You know how he got his break was Kevin Dillon and Matt Dillon. They went to his bar in New Rochelle. They lived there. So they used to go to his bar and say, hey, man, you should be an actor. And they got him started. They put him in some little extra roles in little movies, and that's how he got started. But who would ever figure, this guy I'm friends with since I'm 13, I used to go to, as a street kid, I would go hustle and take, and just go, okay, where's our money? And I would hang out in his bar all night because I didn't go to school. And I would leave his bar 6 a.m. I'd be going to the back to my house. All kids would be going to school and work, and I'd be going upstairs to go to bed. But who would realize 30 years later, we're on the biggest show to TV together, playing partners and making TV history.
Crazy.
Ain't that insane?
That is very insane.
So he became famous. A kid named Jimmy Matteo from our neighborhood, wasn't really a street kid, just a regular kid. A bunch of kids from my neighborhood became famous.
Are there any fake mobsters that you know of?
A million of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's a
Ones that claim that they're hard guys.
And then they pretend they know someone, and then they'll be like, "Oh, go get your uncle," and then they'll be like, "Well, I didn't really mean because they know once you're at a level, they can't get anyone." But everyone drops a name. There's a lot of fake gangsters. There's a lot of real gangsters, and a lot of the guys are not all bad. And like I said earlier, a lot of the guys are not all bad. A lot of guys you want on your side, even though they're bad. There's a lot of guys I take on that side more than half the legitimate people I know, especially in Hollywood.
What kind of values do you think that life instilled in you?
Hard work, never get dejected, be a rock. Mentally, physically, just be a rock. Nothing can break me. I say that to this day. You can't break me.
But your eyes teared up when you talked about your grandmother's loyalty to your grandfather.
Well, who sits around 30 years and waits for anyone these days? Brought up 30 people, my grandmother. Suffered, struggled, worked. As a grandmother, taking care of old people at an old age home. Her job was a job. Hustling every day. Didn't abandon any of us. Right? Where do you find that loyalty these days? Today, if you have an argument with a relationship, I'm leaving. One argument, you're married today. I'm out of here. Right? Imagine waiting 30 years for someone. Every day, making those trips on the phones.
And you don't feel like you see that kind of loyalty now?
There is not one bit. Only from one
think?
person, from my daughter. It's the only person I feel any loyalty from. No, there's no real friends anymore. Everything is materialistic. Social media destroyed everybody's expectations of what it is. Like even girls, I feel bad. My daughters don't even post anything on Instagram. She goes to school to be an ultrasoundist. She goes to work every day, saves every penny, does an amazing job, right? Me and her mom did an amazing job. So I look at kids now, no one wants to do anything. They want especially I feel bad for young girls because Instagram makes everything you see her. I want to look like her. She really don't look like this. I know these people. I sit in rooms with them. They don't look like this.
In fact, she's sitting right next to you and you didn't even recognize her.
Yes. Yeah. Well, when I do movies and I'm in the makeup trailer and girls come in, and I'm not saying anything bad. I'm brought up by old women. My life is women.
Yeah.
Right. So when people hear me go, "Oh, old women are crazy," I go, "No, I live it. I love women more than anything. My whole life is women. Everything I've learned. My grandmother taught me how to be me. See, my aggressiveness. She was a bulldog. That's where I learned it from. Don't take shit. Don't listen to anyone. Don't say this. Don't you talk to her. She would always. I'd be like, yeah, right. And so she was like that, So that's where I got that from, I believe. My tenaciousness, my straight, never quit mind. Like she was always a bulldog. So, when I tell people, all women are crazy, they go, oh my God. I go, no, I have the right to say that because they made me. All women, right? And who do I teach it to? My daughter. So she's got that mindset. Again, I don't want to hear problems. I don't want to hear negativity. Fix it. Don't sit home crying every day. No one's coming to save you. Right?
I feel like there's a really big cultural element, the Italian influence that you don't really focus on that much, but I feel it from you. So you don't get curious to go to Italy?
I do.
Italy's one of my favorite places in the world.
As soon as I can, I'm going.
Yeah.
As soon as I can. Yeah, it's one of the mistakes. I've been to Japan. I loved it. I've been to London. I've been so many places. And I've never been to Italy because I just didn't have the, I don't know. I just never.
I don't know if anything beats Italy. Italy's amazing.
Well, that's my next journey. And I'm going to go for like a month. I have a lot of people keep telling me, come, we have this, we have this, we have this, we can do this. And I'm going to.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, not one thing in my life I regret. Not one thing I say, oh, I wish I would have besides going to Italy. Otherwise, my career's been amazing. I've worked with everyone, every great actor. And you want to know what really was my school too? On not about acting as much, but more about respect of an actor, was working with so many great legends. I worked with Malcolm McDowell for a year, and he taught me like not about acting as much, but about the business of acting. You know, he would tell me stories. Yeah, Peter O'Toole or one of these actors would say, you know, go in the thing, or Dustin Hoffman would go in the corner and be a bum. Malcolm would go, it's acting, dear, it's acting, act. He would tell me stories of legends, and I would watch how he dealt with people. And there's a legend, Malcolm McDowell, and Mike Starr, which is my brother, and there was so many amazing, Robin Williams. This guy was like one of the best people I've ever met. Never mind actor. He would treat people with respect. It was a massive actor, massive thing. He would treat people ever. Robert Downey Jr. So my acting, not acting school, but my learning how to treat people was from some of the best people who were the biggest actors in the world. So I learned that kind of stuff. Not as much acting, but about the respect of people on sets and acting. So I got a great education on that side as well as learning great actors. You know?
What kind of role do you see yourself playing that perhaps a casting director wouldn't think of you for?
Well, you know what? That's my whole entire career, and I'm so proud of it. And I tell people to this day, I go, as an Italian-American, big Italian-American, everyone sees you as a gangster, right? When's the last time I played a gangster? Sopranos? What am I? FBI. 24? I'm a sad FBI agent. I did a movie, The Animal, with Rob Schneider. I play a cop. Entourage, I just play a neighborhood kid, a neighborhood guy in the Bronx. Every project I've done, I've never really played gangsters. Isn't that ironic? For being a big Italian-American, so I broke the mold in that. My career has not been, hey, yo, spin on the ground. My career has been massively respectable roles that I didn't play, that I'm not a stereotypical Italian-American, which I pride myself on. And that I really, like, love. You know, going, yeah, I'm not like, you know, gangster one, you know, nothing. Look at my career. Look at all my movies. Maybe 5 gangster roles in 30 films, 40 films, 50 films, whatever how many I did. How many TV shows I play a gangster.
Armenians often get typecast, too, in bad guy roles.
But that's Hollywood. African Americans, Hispanic, everybody's typecast, and this and that's what Hollywood does. You know, and I was able to not do that. Like my street life, I was able to not do stuff. It kind of transcends my whole life. You know, I was able to get away from the gangster stuff, right? I was able to get away from the stereotypical roles as gangsters. I was able to, you know, become extremely successful just on my negative upbringing, or not even negative, but hard upbringing, right? That all bred me. People go, wow, what was the best part of streets? Was my upbringing, because it bred me for Hollywood. Hollywood's a tough place. You know, a lot of rejection, a lot of negativity, a lot of bullshit, right? I was able to walk through effortlessly because of that extremely hard upbringing. And to me, I didn't even look at it hard. I just thought, this is life.
Did you feel like there was a lot of politics in Hollywood?
All politics. Hollywood is mostly politics. Who
Like
do you
what?
know? Like, how do you get auditions? How do you know? If you know writers or directors or producers, you'll get roles because they'll call you in quicker. You know, they're friends.
How much of it is who you know?
80%.
Yeah.
Your agent knows people. They get you in rooms. You know, you get seen before other people. You get people, oh, this guy's great. You know, that's happened to me. Some great people put their foot forward for me in the past, you know. But again, a lot of the stuff I go in with my personality, talking to people, you know, humanizing the process. Does that make sense?
Do you feel the need to network, go to events,
I
meet
used
people?
to. I never liked it. I never liked going to premieres after I did stuff. I didn't like.
Why?
Yeah,
You're social and you're talkative.
I just didn't like. But to me, social is dealing with real people.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear a bunch of people kissing each other's asses. You're the best. You're the best. You're the best. I make that joke now. When I was on 24, we were nominated for an Emmy the first year I was on. Right? I hated it. I hated going to the Emmys. You're on the carpet for 10 hours. It's 100 degrees. You're in a tuxedo. Then you're in a seat for 10 hours listening to everybody clap at each other. I'd be like, okay. So, and as soon as the first year, they were like, the winner is, and we lost. 24 lost to a show called Lost. Lost was a show.
Yeah.
So 24 lost. Hey, I got up, I got my limo, and I went home. They freaked out. The producers are like, everyone wants to see you. You're Edgar. All these people want to see you. Where you can't just go home. You need to go to these parties afterwards. And I was like, I went home, right? I went to Pink's in my limo, and I went home afterwards, right? First year we went. When I got back to set, they were like, you can't do that. They want to see you. You're like you're like people love you, like as Edgar. All the press wants to talk to you. I was like, oh, I just didn't like being in the Hollywood scene. I could be in a room with us and do this all day, cooking, eating. We're regular people. But Hollywood always, the people weren't my, I don't know, just wasn't, I wasn't desperate to be an actor. I wasn't desperate. I just loved it. So I wasn't desperate anyway. I didn't want to be around people just kissing each other's asses all day. You're great. I know. Okay, whatever. I don't want to hear that. I just like doing my job, and I like being around real people. So the next year, we were nominated again. This is when my character, Edgar, was killed on 24. So it was like the big hype was Edgar. So to get me. So we were on the thing. And this was a career pinnacle moment, was one of my wow moments of my career was, okay, the next year we're nominated again. And who we nominated against? Sopranos. Those are my buddies. And remember, I was on Sopranos for a long time. So we're in the audience. The winner is 24. And I was like, oh, shit. So I couldn't just leave, So I get up on stage. We're all on stage, right? And one of the highlights of my career is you have all these Soprano guys. Gandolfini, who I knew way before Sopranos. Michael Imperioli before Sopranos. And they were like, Louis, screaming. I'm on stage with the whole cast of 24. And everyone's looking. And they were like, well, a lot of the people on 24 didn't realize I was on Sopranos because it was so close together. It was only 3 or 4 years apart. And they were like, and all the Soprano guys were screaming for me on stage, which was kind of cool, right?
Of course.
Like I was with you guys 2 years ago. Now I'm here. And I beat you guys out of an Emmy. So anyway, so we're on stage. We go back. We have to do massive press. And everyone wanted to talk to Edgar because Edgar was a sad character, really heartbreaking character. Again, every episode, sad, crying. My mom dies. I die. Everybody dies. Hey, 24. So we win the Emmy. So they made sure I got in the car and I went to Spago and I had to do all the things and I was like, okay, and I was like taking my tuxedo off. I want to be in my sweatpants and I go everywhere like this. I don't care where it is. I'll travel anywhere in the world. I'll just go like this. You don't like me, I leave. I don't care. I don't care where room. I don't care who you are. I leave. Bye. You don't like me for me to work because I'm dressed. I don't want to talk to you ever again. You couldn't walk 5 feet in my shoes in the Bronx. Because you're in Hollywood, you think you're better than people? I've never had that mindset. A lot of people come up to me and go, wow, you're one of the most down-to-earth real actors. Because I'm not a real actor. I'm a real person. I'm a person. I don't care what you are. Unless you say something stupid, then you'll get retaliation from me. But if you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. 100%.
You've been in the industry for most of your life now. So how much of your friends would you say are from the industry? And what percentage of your friends are outside of the industry? 1%
from the industry, 99% from outside the industry.
Why do you think that is?
I just don't fit. I'm not an actor. And that's why I think I became so successful. I'm a real person. So when I go and I can make a connection in 2 minutes.
Yeah. But what's interesting is, don't you find yourself relating to not necessarily actors, but people in the creative fields more than people that are not in the creative field just because of the way of thinking?
No,
or that's not, no?
I do my job and I want to go home. I don't want to go to bars. I don't really drink anymore. I just don't like it. I just don't like being in bars. I don't like drinking. I don't do drugs. So I don't want to be, and not that everyone does it. I'm not saying that, but I don't enjoy being in bars. If you call me and go, hey, you want to come to my house and make pizza? Absolutely, let's go. Right? Want to cook? Yeah, absolutely, let's go. Have my friends over? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want to be around 100 actors. I don't want to hear how great you are. I don't want to hear about your auditions. Well, that's most of it. When I lived in the house with five, well, they told you how great they were. Not one of them became successful. And I was supposed to be the underdog who never went to film school, acting school, nothing. I was supposed to be, hey, they used to pat me on the head. You'll be, we'll look out for you. I'd be, okay. Where are they now?
It's so helpful to hear these stories because a lot of times, if you take an unconventional route, you kind of feel like an imposter. I didn't do things the right way. I
Right.
didn't do things the way that you're supposed to. And you look at some successful people who went through the right channels and took all the proper steps. And a lot of times it works out. But then doesn't mean that if you take a different route that it's not going to work out for you. And you
Right.
might be trailblazing a completely different.
Follow your method. Follow what works for you. Don't try to adapt to other people's. Whatever works for you, do. Like I learned how to read by reading books, paperbacks. I learned how to act by picking up a script. You know how I learned how to write scripts? When I got out here in 1993, I didn't have a computer. I never owned a computer. Right? I was like, okay, my buddy who I lived with, one of the actors, had a word processor and the A didn't work. Right? So everything is A. You don't learn this. So now I'm like, I get this house, all of us, it's a party house. So I go, I want to write this movie about this crew of Irish kids, true story from the Bronx that I knew. A crew of Irish kids who pose as cops and rob drug dealers. It's a true story. These are my buddies who I was friends with. So I want to write this story. So I go, how do I write a script? I never learn how to write a script. I know how to read a script, but I'm like, how do I write it? So I got Pulp Fiction was a script. Somebody gave it to me, right? It was like 150 pages. So I would go, okay, interior, house, exterior. And I started putting it up on the desk and I would write interior, Bronx, drug den. Blah, 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 blah. Two guys walk in and I was reading it from the Pulp Fiction. I was reading Pulp Fiction's format.
A format, yeah, understanding how to.
And that's how I learned how to write. And then it took me months. Why? The A. And I'd be like, so my buddy though, who was like my brother, who we started out with together in '91, he was my partner in this movie. He was very patient. He would be like, I got it, Louis, because he was typing faster. And he would see and he would say, because he was the one who was his word processor, it was at the time. And it would be the printer, with the paper on the end, like the, what do they call that? The old printers that printed out like, not like a regular printer, but that big roll of paper. So that's how I learned how to write my first script. It took me 8 months just to figure out and how to do the A. But he helped me. He would be like, I got you. And I would stay up till 5 a.m. still typing. Even if it was one page. I didn't know how to type. Even now, my daughter, I'm like, hey, can you just help me type this for a minute? And she'd be like, relax. I'll be like, I asked you 1,000,000 times because, when you don't know and it's easy for you, but it's not easy for me to do certain things, I don't want to be frustrated. So if you could help me in 5 minutes and make my life easier, I'll do the rest. But if there's certain things I need help on, I tell her all the time, I just need help. Once you show me how to walk, I'll run. And no matter what I do in life, everything I'm self-taught. You know what I'm saying? And
what's really cool about your approach too is we were talking about this with my husband earlier, that there are two approaches to education. One is if you're not good at certain things, then the teachers make you focus on those areas in order for you to improve. Another approach is we look at what you are good at, and those are the things that we hone in on
Right.
to make sure that you're not good, you're excellent in
Right.
those areas.
Be
and
great.
so what you did is you kind of filtered out whatever doesn't really interest you, what you're not passionate about. You took the things that you are passionate about and you put 100% into
Yes,
those things.
right, exactly.
And that's how you succeeded.
yeah, and determination. You'll never break me. I come from a world where you can never break me.
Do you think you can teach that kind of determination?
No, because
or do you
today-
think it's the way that you're born
The
or
way
your
you're born and
upbringing?
brought up and your upbringing, I see it on people. I'm just a rock because I had to be. Most people don't have that hardship life, so they don't know what it is to struggle every moment of every day. I took struggle and moment every day as positive. All right, I'm learning. All right, how do I use it? You know what a triple beam is?
No.
It's a scale that they use to weigh drugs.
He was testing me. If I said yes, he'd be like, I knew
You
it.
drug addict. But I learned how to master fractions and eighths and ounces all from that. So I got a math degree. Even now, people go, okay, it's 200 times 10. I go, well, 448. And they're like, wow, like, how did you get that so fast? And they're like calculating. And usually I'm 80%
That's
right.
why I'm not good at math.
Right. We're going to get you a triple beam.
Yeah.
Now they're digital, so now our society's real dumb. But I used to have it when he was Wade, so I used to have 3-4 of them in my house. I was just like a master at it. But that bred me for my career now as a business guy, right? Everything was a lesson. Nothing was hard. It was more of a lesson. That's why I look at everything in life. It's a lesson. If it doesn't work out, you learn the lesson. You know what don't work out. You quit? No. You never, 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 never quit. You know, quitting, and I tell people this all the time. Failing is not succeeding. Failing is not trying. Most people don't want to try because they're afraid of failure. I'm in. Put me in. I played football for 10 years. I was a master disaster. I would kill people. I would be like a lunatic playing football. That's what broke me down now. I limp a lot and I have shin problems, but I was an athlete for 10 years. I played massive. We won championships. I was an absolute athlete as well. And that was another thing. I would just go out there and try to kill people. People would be afraid. People would be like, yo, this guy's got to calm down. I'd be like, and I used to say this, once I can intimidate, then I'll dominate. That was my life mindset in sports. So if I got out there, me and you were on the field, and I ran you over, and I did it again the next play, you're going to be intimidated. You're going to be like, holy shit, this guy don't stop. Then what? And then I dominate you. Then it's not hard because you're going to get out of my way every time I run past you. You're not going to want to get hit every time. Oh, there's people send me tape, CDs of the games. Back in the day, it was like Gladiator. It was 11-man, no equipment, playing in East Harlem and Jefferson Park, full 11-man. Yeah, semi-pro guys. And I was illegally in the league. I was 14, 15. You had to be 18. Our team was full of gangsters. All the guys were big gangsters. All my friends, my family. So we had this team. They just let me play, and I was the best thing I ever did in my life. And again, I learned how to dominate the dominators. People would come out there all bent. I'd be like, okay. People would be like, oh, God, look at him. I'd be on the sideline from the bar from the night before, nose bleeding, throwing up in the huddle. They would see me. They'd be like, holy cow. Well, the other teams would be like, all right, this guy's got to. They would tell my friends, yo, this guy's got to calm down. He'd be like, just don't go in his way. And that's how I dominated football. That's how I dominated in sports. That mindset, I'm going to wreck you. I don't want to win every game. I want to win every play. Every single play that you line up, I want to beat you down. And that's what I did with Hollywood. Every audition, you go in, there's 10,000 people auditioning for that role. And I'd walk in half-assing it, reading my stuff, and people would be there, how, that coffee's hot. And I'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd walk in all happy and laughing and talking to people. And I'd go into audition, start talking to the people, break the ice, and boom, read my lines, full of confidence. People would be shaking, nervous. No way. That's where I succeeded, and that's how I thrived, was from confidence and no fear. No fear. You know, people are afraid to travel. People are afraid to go to... When I grew up in the Bronx, you go, want to go to Manhattan? All the way there? I go, all the way there? It's 10 miles away, dude. Yeah. Most people don't go anywhere in the Bronx. They're still in the same houses 50 years later that their moms gave them with their kids, working construction, doing their thing. No one is left. I'm a kid who had nothing, nothing, and I've been around the world winning Emmys, succeeding in every single thing I've done so far that I put my passion to. My two passions were food, now look at our food business, and acting, and look where I ended up. And after I learned how to write, like I told you, click, 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 I do one finger. Even now, I can't type. Ava, can you help me? She's like, and I get mad at her. Oh, you could have helped me earlier. Why are you making me do this? She'd be like, yo, relax. I have like 70 pages of homework. I'm going to work after this. You're home all day. I go, okay, yeah, you're right. You know, and I don't get mad like for long. I might snap and go, what are you doing? What are you doing? But then 2 minutes later, I'm like, hey, you want to go eat? I don't carry grudges. I don't, especially with my daughter. You know, I don't want to linger negativity. Yeah, I may snap. What are you doing? Show me out. And she'll be like, and she'll click it, and I'll be like, you know, watching her do 100 miles an hour typing. Okay, once that part is done, move. I got it. But you did a massive part by helping me, believe it or not, because once I'll get frustrated, it'll start slowing me down mentally.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be great at everything, but you can learn, but still you can't be great at everything.
Before we continue, let's take a quick moment to chat with this episode's sponsor, personal injury attorney and founder of A&Law, Law, Ani Nalbandian.
Congratulations on earning your title as super lawyer.
Thank you.
Personal injury is such a competitive field. Do you feel like you have to also work on visibility and self-marketing?
Absolutely. I feel like it's a saturated field.
What's one thing people say after a car accident that can completely ruin their case?
I'm so sorry.
So why?
That could be used against you. When you say things like that, the person on the other side is going to run to the insurance company, and that's the first thing that they're going to say. And that can be used against you.
Have you ever had a client who messed up their case without realizing it?
Yes. I've had a client who the insurance company likes to play games. They like to call the client and ask them questions and pretend that they didn't see representation letter on file. I had a client that actually spoke to them, gave a full statement to the insurance company, and completely ruined their case.
I've heard that posting on Instagram can actually hurt your case.
Absolutely.
I've read that people actually get in trouble with gym selfies too. Like, it seems so innocent, but they go to the gym, they take selfies working out, and then they claim to be injured. And
Well, it does make sense. If you're injured, you should not be at the gym doing reps or lifting heavy weights. But, people do that, and actually it really hurts their face.
Make sure to visit anlaw.law for more info. That's anlaw.law.
tell me about your friendship with Joe Rogan. How did you guys meet?
Joe Rogan was on a show called News Radio, a sitcom, back with Phil Hartman back in the day. And my buddy, when I first got here, my buddy was a showrunner on the show. And he would go, Louie, come on down. And I would go down to the sets, and I would meet Phil Hartman, and I'd meet Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan was the badass dude back in 93. Before MMA was popular and famous, he was training, he was fighting, he would have killed you back then. But he was the nicest guy ever. And it shows till to this day because he's the most famous dude ever, and he still likes my stuff, follows me. Hey, Louie, great thing, blah, 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 right? That's a sign of a good person. He could be like, who's Louie? And it ain't like we went out every night. We just met on the sets, and he would go, hey, come here. And we would just, we weren't like this, but we were friends. Like, we know each other. And he's still friendly. He still leaves, you see, he follows me, he leaves messages. That's kind of cool.
He seems like a genuinely good person.
Genuinely good person. He doesn't play games. He's not a punk. He doesn't talk nonsense. If he has something to say, he'll say it to your face. And he was like that from 93 until now. So that's a dude he grew up in Jersey as well. I think he's Italian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
You could tell that his value system is on point. Like, he just values the right things in life, and
he doesn't cow tip to what people say or follow people. He's like, no, it's my opinion. And he was like that back then. We would hang out with him and like go to after party, like after the show would wrap. You go to the restaurant, everybody would sit there to cast, and he was the coolest, most solid dude then. Flash forward 33 years later, still the most coolest, solid dude. That's when you know you're just a good person.
Integrity. That's what's really hard to come across. People who are not I mean, you can put so much pressure on him, which we've all seen how much pressure he gets, but he sticks to his truth.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah. That's the sign of a real person. Mm-hmm. And I'm the same way. Like, I don't care. I don't veer. I don't go where the best wind is.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Popular opinion.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't stay with actors that I really don't. I'm not looking for roles. I'm not looking for stuff. Like, whatever comes down the pipe's going to come down like my whole life is. Stuff happens for a reason, and when it happens, you keep going. Same with Hollywood. If I get a good role, I was supposed to do one episode of Sopranos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We ended up doing the whole season. We stole that season, right? Me and Big Pussy. I was supposed to do, and the executive producer from 24 saw me on Sopranos and called me in. I was supposed to do one episode of 24. I did 48 episodes and we won an Emmy. I show up. You see that we're talking to you? I show up 100 miles an hour. I don't care if you give me $1 or 10 million. I show up 100 miles an hour. I'm ready. Like football. That was my mindset. So when I show up to sets, that's it. I'm like, that goes back to my football days where I'm going to dominate you. She'd come on sets and go, holy shit, like, what are you doing? I'd be like, okay, I'm going to steamroll these actors. That's just my mindset of winning, like sports. You don't know your lines, I'm going to steamroll you. You're not energetic, I am. And that's how I got most of my other roles, because people say, oh my God, this guy's showing up.
It seems like you're invested and you're not difficult to work with.
No, because I just want to do my job and I want to go home. I respect everyone. The problem with Hollywood is a lot of people are not bullies, but bullyish mentality. So if you don't conform to what they say or they do, then you consider you difficult. That's happened. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, he talked back to me. He's difficult. Yeah, because you're a bully. If we were in the Bronx or we were in the streets, you would never say anything to me.
Did you ever get into
any
big
many
conflicts?
times. And
really?
I got fired a few times. But my integrity is more than money.
Can you share a story?
No,
When did
not
you get
really.
tired of?
Not really.
No?
No, because there's some massive things, massive people. And I
What
just...
about what it was over? What were you not willing to compromise?
Being yelled at?
Oh, okay.
Being told, shut up, go sit there, we'll talk, whatever. Who the fuck are you talking to?
Is it just because they're so successful and they feel
They're
like
not
you're
successful. Half these people grew up delivering pizzas or whatever, and this is their opportunity to go, oh, I'm here now. I'm going to abuse this girl. I'm
It's
going to
the
abuse this
bouncer
guy.
at the club.
Yeah. What?
It's the bouncer at the club.
Yeah.
Finally has some authority and power.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, not even the bouncer. Like guys that were just minimal people who would never disrespect you, would wash your car in the Bronx. If they weren't big producers. They'd be like, oh my God, hey, hi. But they have this position where they can say, shut up, sit down. And you go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I see them doing. People go, okay, I'm sitting. Okay, I'm up. And I would look and go, wow, oh my God. I'm not you. In the Bronx, you said stuff to me. I would come to your house. I would get you. That was my mindset. You told me, shut up, sit down. I'd be like, what'd you just say?
Well, that's like abusive behavior.
And that's what a lot of the stuff in Hollywood is. The people got this power and they've never had power before, so they use it as an abusive tool. And I just never accepted that. So there was issues and times where I said, shut the F up, and I got fired. But I'd rather be fired than you tell people I abused this guy. Instead of going, wait, this guy told me he's going to beat the shit out of me when I left the set. Yeah, I will. Back then I would, when I was younger. Now I'm too old. I don't want to fight anyone. I don't want to argue with anyone.
But you still won't let anyone
You
yell
ain't
at
going to talk shit to me, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
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 But-
Armenians don't roll like that either.
Yeah, no, you ain't talking
Can't
shit to
yell
me
at
these
us.
days. Yeah,
No,
I'll come right at you. I don't care who you
Yeah,
are.
for sure.
My daughter makes fun of me. I go, I don't care. You're not going to disrespect me. I don't care if you like me, but you better have respect for me.
For sure.
And that was the street mindset. We walk into a bar and we're about to shake the whole bar down. If you spit in my face and I don't knock your teeth out, guess what? Guess what? You're never going to collect $1 from anyone. But if you get one guy who's like, shut the hell up, and you knock his teeth out, people are going to be like, holy cow, he knocked my teeth out. I shouldn't say anything to this guy. And that's what happened growing up.
At the end of the day, people treat you how you let them treat you.
That's right. And that was when I got to Hollywood. Because I was a street dude who was like, I told you earlier, like a leader of things, you know. Not only was my family mad, but I was. Picture this at 13. Coming, I used to be way more. Now I'm calm. I used to be way more. I used to be like a gorilla. I'd show up all like if I had to do stuff, you know, like if it was time to control rooms of people. Yeah, I was master. I used to dominate, and everyone followed me. All these killers, all these drugs. They would all go, "Where are we going, Doc? We're going here." I would show up, and I would be like, "All right, what are we doing?" And if you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. If you're mean to me, I mean. So when I took that mentality to Hollywood, and I treat everyone nice, hey, how can everyone? But then you get some of these people with abusive power, and they think they do it to so many people. They think you're number 20. But no, I'm number 19, and number 20 is going to be the problem you're going to have for the rest of your life. And I tell people, I used to tell people, this is your set, right? Yeah. When we leave that gate, it doesn't become your set anymore. Now it becomes real life. They used to go, oh, what are you talking? Well, Bronx and No, I'm not talking anything. I'm talking as a man. You say something to me now, when we leave your set, you don't own the streets. You don't own outside. You don't know who I know. We're not actors. Not just in New York. I know a lot of people out here that I became really friends with growing up. Not even actors, like street people from Venice and stuff, and guys I knew that were real deal hardcore dudes who were like the Bronx guys with me, adapted me. I still friends with them 30 years later. Street dudes to the max, like not actors, you know? So I would look at people and go, okay, I'll get you if you talk stupid to me, but if you don't, we're the best friends. We'll hang out, we'll eat pizza, I'll invite you to my house.
Reactive personalities.
Yeah. Treat me stupid, I'll treat you stupid. Treat me nice, I'll hug you all day.
It's fair.
I tell her that all the time. If people get stupid, I will say shit.
Yeah.
You're nice to me, you come to my house, we'll eat. You come to my truck, I feed everyone. I put a table out there. So everybody, it's like the Sopranos. Everybody comes to my truck, I have a table, I sit out there, families come, I give free ice pops to the kids. All the family, it don't matter what race, creed, or color you are, everyone's at my table. She's in there working, I'm out there eating with the people, and I'm out there, I love it. I never really fit in Hollywood. That's why I used to leave with the Emmys, and they got mad because it is my job. They are right. It was my job. Your job is to promote the show. I agree with that. But I'm just not that Hollywood mindset. I want to be in my sweatpants. I don't want to be in a premiere. Everybody going, you're great, you're great, you're great. I don't want to hear that. You know?
My husband always says, he's like, people in LA give so many compliments
Yeah.
that you don't even know when to take it seriously anymore. It loses its value because everything is, oh, you're so great, you're so great, you're so gorgeous, you're so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
No, you
it
are.
just
No, you
loses-
are.
Yeah.
Right, that's my running joke.
So
You
totally
are.
loses its value, and it's
Right.
not so meaningful anymore.
And even when I get to sets, I go, okay, number one, I don't want makeup. I don't want hair. What do I have to? What are you doing? We need you 2 hours early. So I go, do I need makeup and hair? So I show them. I go to the sets beforehand. I go, guys, I don't need makeup. I don't need hair. Don't call me in 3 hours early. There's no need for you to do this to me. You're not going to make me any prettier. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a wardrobe. I want to be the most comfortable in my wardrobe. That's it. I want to be like I am in normal life. I want to be on sets.
A lot of successful people have the mentality that when they have kids, their kids have to make it on their own, and they don't want to help their kids
Shaquille O'Neal
succeed.
does that.
Really?
He said he's worth $400 million. He tells his kids, "This is my money, not our money." He goes, "If you guys go get masters and master degrees, I will help you. If you guys think I'm just going to give you $100 million, you're gone." He says it. I love Shaquille. He's one of my favorite people. One of my favorite people.
Whereas Mira Sorvino's dad, Paul Sorvino, he put in the money.
Yeah, he put in 15, and she was a co-producer, and then ended up turning out, right, all the actresses bailed out. They couldn't find it. She put herself in because she knew everything so well, and she became a star. But she actually earned it because she actually acted in that movie. Even though she was on a set being an associate producer, she wasn't in the movie. She wasn't starring in it. She knew the stuff. She got there. She showed up, and she hit the home runs on set,
But your approach is you help your daughter and she helps you.
Right.
You have a really close bond, but you're also collaborating in business together.
That's right. And I tell her the business is yours. I mean, I'm very fortunate, but if we turn this into a $100 million business, it's yours. I don't give a crap. I'll still be in my little Kia Soul. I'll still walk around with my sweater. I've done it. I've been on the biggest shows winning Emmys, and I still do the same thing. I show up to meetings and interviews, and, the Associated Press used to love me because when they met me from Edgar, did you ever see 24?
A long time
24,
ago.
I was crying crying every scene. Oh, okay. Sopranos, I was like, hey, big pussy, I'll knock your teeth out.
Yeah.
24, I was like, okay, Chloe. She was a young girl yelling at me in every episode, and I'd be crying in every scene and blah, blah, blah. So when the press watched me on 24, the Associated Press, that was the biggest thing. They loved me. All over the world, I would do 20 interviews with these soldiers, and they'd be like, oh my God, you're not Edgar. They feel like we're talking now?
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh my God, you're not Edgar. You're a great actor.
It's an epiphany.
Yeah, because I'd be like, what's up? What are we doing? Hey, that's my street thing. And I'd be like that. And they'd be like, holy cow, Edgar's a crying CTU worker, crying on his desk every day, getting yelled at by 5-foot Chloe, the blonde. Shut up, Edgar. Okay. And I cry. People felt so bad for my character. So when I was doing all the press for it, the press would look at me and go, I would be like this. And they'd be like, holy cow, you're an amazing actor. And I'd be like, thanks. But I was able to get that side of the serious sadness from remembrance of where I grew up. A lot of people disappearing, a lot of people not showing up. So, you always have that, sometimes you do miss people. Sometimes you go, wow, that sucks for that person. He's a good person. Now you never found his body. Or he's doing 30 years in prison when he should be doing 5 years. So you destroy these people's lives. So you do kind of reminisce and feel bad. And that's how I translate some of my acting in the sadder scenes like that,
Do you ever think about going
And then the
on?
aggressive one, then the aggressive one was me and Big Pussy in The Sopranos. Who's guarding you, pussy? I will knock you out. That's my, right? I was always like, I will get you. So that came from the street side.
When you see stuff in when you see things in the legal system that are unfair to you because of the life that you've seen, you've lived, and you're just like, this is not fair. This guy should not be in jail for 20 years. Do you ever think about getting involved on the legal side to make reforms?
Well, it's funny. For the first time in history, I got called for jury duty last month, right? So I had a call every day. She had to help me. Okay, but can you show me how to do it? Because I'm going to end up getting arrested because I don't know how to do this computer. She filed it over. So every day I would call up. Did they need me? Did they need me? Because I go, I hope they give me an interview before you go into a jury. Do they interview you? I kept saying. Because if they do, that judge or jury or whoever's interviewing me to see if I'm going to be a juror, his eyes are going to be like this big. Because I'm going to tell him how much I think the political system's rigged, fake, the privatization of prisons. It's all about money. There's 87 private prisons that are all run by governors, senators. They all own the concessions, the food and the vending machines, the laundry, the wardrobes, every single thing in a privatized prison is money. Yeah, it's all fake. Let's pack these prisons or else what? We don't make money. Why are you getting first-time nonviolent drug offenders 25 years? The prisons are packed with them. Oh, I would have went off on if they would have interviewed me. I couldn't wait to go down to the Superior Court. I was like, okay, let them interview me, and I'm going to tell them what I think of the political system. Why? Because I've been in it. I've been there for 30 years.
And then the consequences of
I've
these
seen the injustice. Yeah, my friends came out of prison 50 years old. They went into 25, got out of 50. No kids, no wives, no family, starting over with no money, nothing at 50.
And then the people who do have families, these families get broken apart.
I've seen all these kids OD, die, go to jail.
Yeah.
Because remember, we did the train with them. We used to go to the penitentiary together. We did the caravans. And all these kids started falling off because their dads were drugs. Then they got hooked on drugs or jail. Every one of them. Majority.
And then there's so much data about kids growing up without dads and how much that affects the trajectory of the rest of their lives.
Right. But I did. And I look at it as a positive. Because if he was around, would I be sitting here talking to you about my 100 movies, about my Emmys, about my life in Hollywood? Probably not.
But then how many people are there like you?
Very few. People tell me that now when I do interviews, like, wow, we never heard that perspective before. It's called breaking the cycle.
Yeah, I mean, especially when that kind of lifestyle and mentality gets passed down to the kids, and then the families start working together in the same kind of criminal enterprises.
My grandmother's 2 kids went to jail. My both uncles. My brother went to jail. My aunt. The 3 women that brought me up. My mother, my grandmother, my aunt. My aunt's son is like my brother. He's been in jail many times. My grandmother's 2 boys. They did a long time in prison. My brother, prison. And I was the main guy of all these people, and I was fortunate enough to get away. But, everybody didn't break the cycle. So their kids visited them in prisons.
I guess I had this fake romantic view of those kind of families where somebody goes to jail for a long time and then they teach their kids and they tell them, you don't want this life.
Right.
Go do something
Not my
else.
neighborhood. My neighborhood, they encourage it. You got to be going, let me show you how to sell heroin. But again, a lot of guys taught me that growing up, and it wasn't intentional. It was to show me how to survive.
That's what they knew. They were surviving, and they're thinking they're helping you survive.
And that's why I still love a lot of those guys that were my foundation. They're still around, some of the guys, the hardcore guys that showed me, this is what you need to do. And it wasn't because we want to make you a gang. We were like, no, you're going to survive. We're going to get you. This is what I knew. As a young guy, I did this, and this guy taught me this. You're going to survive. I'm going to give you this so you don't get caught up. You don't meet with the wrong people. You don't deal with the wrong things.
Because they know that when you're out there by yourself, what you are dealing against, and then they're equipping you in their minds.
And I blessed them for that till today, because that's what made me judge Hollywood people. I know how to walk into a room and judge anyone in 2 minutes. I could tell someone in 5 seconds. No, I don't like this person. Let's go. Oh, no, they're smart. I don't care. I can feel their energy. I tell her all the time, it's the energy. I walk into a room, I'd leave in 2 minutes. If I sense an energy, I don't care. You can smile all you want. I can read right through most people. And that was my protection in the Bronx. That's how I didn't end up doing 50 years in prison. I was able to walk into a room and go, I don't like these people. And the funny story is, when my friends started cutting me out, they were hanging out with these other dudes. And I go like, yo, dude, these guys are scumbags. Whatever. These guys are not good people. No, you're crazy. I'm making $50,000 a week. I'd be like, okay, I don't like these people. We don't want to stay with you anymore. Don't ruin our stuff. Right? Those 4 or 5 dudes ratted them all out and got them to 25 years. How's that? And these are guys, I said, I don't like this guy. You're crazy. That's a famous line, because I was crazy. I didn't tolerate shit. So people would be like...
Was it your intuition, or did you learn to read them?
I learned to read them. It was my intuition, your gut, every single thing. It was one big ball going. I could tell if someone's not being sincere with me in 2 seconds. In 2 seconds. I don't care where I am, the Bronx or Hollywood. And Hollywood, a lot of people are not sincere. They're just out for the fame. They will step on you for that role and pretend they're your buddies and then call the agent and go, I'm not in for that role. I've had it happen. From people that you work close to. But growing up in the Bronx, that was my biggest strength, was knowing who to... I had this intuition when I would go, I don't like this guy, I'm leaving. And I would tell my dudes that, And they'd be like, this is when the money started coming in. And that's why I said greed is like cancer. Once you get it, you're dead. People didn't care. They saw the money. They didn't see the negative side where, oh, this guy rats me out, I'm going to jail. No, he's my guy. He's my best friend. You're a moron. Shut up. Okay. And then I saw the pictures and I saw the indictments and I saw the stuff. And I was like, wow, you screwed over one of the most loyal people in your life. And now you're doing 25 years. Was it bad luck? Was it bad judgment? Or was it just bad karma for screwing over the most loyal person in your life? And then I was able to leave, fortunately, and start a massive career, and I still am rolling. 33 years later, I'm still working, starring in movies and doing TV shows and running a food business. Right? Know your surroundings. I always tell my daughter, know your surroundings. Who's on your team and who's not. You can tell in 2 seconds. You can tell from social media. You have 100 friends on social media. You post up, hey, I just won an Emmy. One likes it, 99 go.
Yeah.
Right?
There was something going viral on Instagram recently. It was this girl that was making a mockery of the whole thing. She was like, I only like famous people's posts when they're really successful. I know you're my friend, but when you make it, when you're really famous, I'll share your stuff. But for now,
right. Now the struggle, I don't want to be a part of the struggle.
Yeah.
I want to be part of the success. And that's this business. And then they come to the part of the success, not to be a supporter, but to be a manipulator to move on. Oh, I can get in a room with this guy. Hey, I'm friends with him. I'm in the movie business too.
Yeah, at that level, I guess it's clout. You're like, I know this famous person,
Right.
and we go way back. But when you are on the journey and you are trying to be successful, I think it also just reminds people of the risks that they didn't take, and they're resentful for it. And so they don't want to help you achieve what you're going for because they didn't do it themselves.
That's
which
100%.
sucks.
That's called fear.
Yeah.
People are afraid. People are afraid to leave their neighborhood. People are afraid to do stuff that they really like. People are afraid what other people think of them. I don't care what you think of me.
Same.
You have, yeah.
Which is a blessing.
Blessing.
And I can't say that, there's anything I did that made me that way. I don't know why I'm that way, but I'm so glad because I think it handicaps you. It's really a horrible thing to be hanging on what will this person think, what will that person say.
I don't care what you say about me. I don't care if you say something to offend me, I'll retaliate. But if you just say I don't like, I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is of me. Never did, even in the streets.
There was a really good quote that said something along the lines of, you'll stop caring what people think about you when you realize how seldom they really do.
Right.
People aren't even thinking about you.
No.
They're busy with their own struggles,
Right.
their own problems. So live your life, do what you want, chase your dreams. And if you fail, nobody really cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
But you'll care if you didn't try.
Yeah, but yeah, most people, it's not even that they don't care if they don't try. They'll blame everyone else for not succeeding if they don't try. Well, I didn't do it because my mother wouldn't give me money for the bus. They wouldn't do it.
How many people do we know like that?
Everyone.
Everyone.
And I
right?
was the one who found a way to do everything unconventional. Okay, I don't know anyone in this business. How do I find out? I read a newspaper. The newspaper had all the information. The Backstage, it's called. Back then. Backstage. Okay, wow, this is like my Bible. Oh, look, there's photographers in the bottom. There's ads. There's the auditions here. 11. I'd be sitting in my house going, okay, how do I do this? So first step I need to do is go get the headshots for $100. Second, I get them duplicated for another $100. Third, I start sending them out to here in envelopes for 70 cents. At the time, it was 30 cents to send them out. So A, B, C. And that's how I figured it out.
But also, if you weren't proactive in your life, and if you didn't figure it out, if you were one of the people that was going to complain and blame other people, who was going to listen? Nobody was going to feel sorry for you. Whereas people that come from a little bit more of a comfortable space, they can say, oh, my mom didn't pay for this. My dad didn't help me with that.
Crutch.
So and so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they can blame other
crutch,
people
right.
for you. It's like, nobody's going to care.
Save you.
No one's coming to save you. You knew that.
I tell people that till today. Oh, I'm going to do away. I'm going to wait. I go, wait for what? Wait for who? Wait for what? No one's coming to save you.
I have a 6-year-old boy. So imagining you at 5, 6 years old in the streets, having to just survive on your own, it's mind-boggling.
I just used to walk around. And you know what and that's sad, but the craziest part is no one asked where I was. I would go out my other grandmother's, not my mother's mother, but my father's mother, and she would always be crying. right? She looked like she was 90 back then. So I would live in a basement apartment on the fold-out bed. That's where I would watch the TV, right? And she would always be crying. And I never understood. As a kid, I'd watch her. I'd go, what is she crying about every day? Or she would look at me and go in the room and cry. I'd hear her, and then she'd come out, cook me dinner, and she'd cry. And I'd be like, what is wrong here? Like, this is kind of depressing. Like, this is kind of weird. Not even depressing, but like, this is kind of, I was a 5, 6, 8-year-old kid watching her. I never knew what the problem was. And I would just leave the house. I would come back 8, 9 hours later, walk around. And that's how I see all those 46 people. I put them all together because I knew everyone from every neighborhood. So when we started the operations, we did like all the stuff we did, everyone would come to see Ducky because I knew everyone from every neighborhood. Remember I told you I lived in all these, and they would all come, where's Ducky? Where's Ducky? So all my friends were afraid to live in the Bronx, were like, oh, these people are asking for you. And that's how we started the first little, selling weed. Was like from that. People would just come and ask for me. But I knew them. So I would walk around and I would know all these people. Hey, Doc, what are you doing? There's a kid, a baby. And I would just, no one, and when I got back at, nighttime, no one would ask, where were you? What are you doing? No one, like you never left. So that was my like freedom. And I loved it. I would just walk around all the time. Middle of the night, 10, 11, walk around 10, 11 at night, 12 at night, walk the streets. So I was always in that environment of being alone. So now I'm very comfortable being alone.
You were alone. Did you feel loved as a kid?
By everyone. That's why I have such a great, even the street dudes love me, would kill someone for me in 2 minutes. My grandmother, my mother, my aunt, you said something about me, forget, my mother would attack you. She would jump over a table. And my grandmother, and all of them, was so protective and loving. That's why I got my loving side from these women. They were always like, no matter what the problem was, they were always there. Even the street dudes who taught me how to load guns and sell drugs, they were 10 years older and would be like, oh, you're my guy. They all showed me love. All the hardest core dudes who've killed 20 people, they would show me love. Everywhere I went, I was protected, saved, and loved. Eating everyone's houses. So that's where I got my personality from, always being accepted. Whether it was where they knew my grandfather or my father or my grandmother or my mother, everyone always took care of me. Always. That's one thing I have, the hardest core dudes, guys that you can't sit in a room with, you'd be afraid, would, boom, we got you.
What qualities do you appreciate in people the most?
Respect, loyalty, and integrity. When I see someone be abused and you don't say anything back, I lose every respect for you. Get out of here. You're going to have this person talk shit to you? You know what I'm saying? Have some integrity. I don't care if it's an acting role or just in life. I wouldn't let my mother talk shit to me. You be respectful to me, I'd be respectful. And I learned that from meandering the streets as a kid. But my mother would kill someone if they said shit to me, or my brother. So we were always had my grandmother, same thing. My aunt, yeah. So they were like all their kids, not just me. We were like loved and protected. Like we had a great base, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So that's basically, being accepted by everyone growing up made me an outgoing person. So that's when I got to Hollywood, I told you, I'd go into rooms, I'd start talking to everyone. Hey, what's going on? Because that's the way people would do to me growing up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had a great life. My upbringing was amazing. I wouldn't trade it for one bit because that's what made me who I am today. If I didn't grow up like that, if I grew up I wouldn't maybe be in Hollywood being so successful because my drive and my determination might not be as rock solid as it is. And I tell everyone, you can't break me. That's my famous line. No one's coming to save you. You cannot break me. I went work without 2-3 years. And I still go, every day I wake up, pumped up, ready, motivated. Yeah. People are like, oh, okay. How do you do that? Because where do I got to go if I don't succeed here?
And now you're creating your own opportunities with the business with your daughter. And also, are you working on verticals now?
No, I actually just started a horror franchise called Director's Cut, which is on Tubi. I'm actually working on a pitching TV shows. I just pitched one with MGM as my partners, with Swizz Beatz and Brancato, my executive producers, about my life growing up in the Bronx. Basically, my story. They loved it. They thought it was great.
How did you connect with Swizz Beatz on
MGM.
This project? Okay.
Yeah. I've been working with it. So I have 3 other projects with MGM now, bigger shows that I'm working on, that I'm creating, that I created, big shows. I want to be more of the creator than being the actor. I've been an actor. I'm very fortunate. I've written, directed, and starred in 3 or 4 films, all by just watching. From NYU to Oliver Stone's to the 20 other people who hired me.
But tell me about your partnership with MGM and how did that happen?
We brought a show to them 7 years ago. We did a sizzle. Me and my partner, we sat a sizzle, a little reel, and we sent it to them. Said, hey, we're working on a show with Louis' Life. Here's a sizzle. They loved it. They were like, come on in. We want to be a part of this. So MG, it's 7-8 years, and COVID hit, so Apple, they were. So we still work. We just pitched it a month ago to every network, HBO, FX, Netflix, Amazon, everyone. We had, and Swizz Beatz came on. Swizz Beatz is from the Bronx. So he related to the story in 2 minutes. Like, I love this. This is a gritty story. Yeah, it's from the Bronx. It's real hardcore stuff. I knew it. He goes, I know a lot of it. So he came on because he grew up in the Bronx and he knew it.
And you're acting in it too.
I don't want to.
No?
No, I just want to be the creator, executive producer. I want to direct them. I will be on it because most people say, if it goes, we want you on, we want you on. Okay, I'll do it, but I don't want to be on set every day. I want to be able to go, me and my daughter go, we're going to Italy. I don't want to be contractually bound to a TV show.
Yeah.
If I'm a recurring role, fine. If it's my own show, I could be like, all right, I want to do a recurring role. That means I'm not contractually bound. If I want to go, okay, me and my daughter are going to somewhere, I want to go.
You want the freedom.
Yeah, I want to be able to live my life and enjoy the money, not being a prisoner to a TV show, which it's not really being a prisoner, but you are. With 24, I was working 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. The weekends, I was rehearsing my lines for Monday, so for 8 months out of a year.
Wow.
When you're on a show like that, you're in. You're contractually bound. You have no life. Your life is getting paid, going
16
to set.
hours a day, 5 days a week?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It gets tough. And that's why so many actors I see turn to alcohol or drugs or cheat on their wives, because your family becomes the sets. Everything is done through there, especially if you're on it for years and years and years. It's all you know. You might have 3 months to go do stuff afterwards, but then you're back on the grind. And again, I loved it. I love my life. I am not complaining, but that's the work of what you do. And I did a show in Hawaii called Fantasy Island. It was a remake of the old Fantasy Island. Me and Malcolm McDowell, I lived in Hawaii for a year in 1997. I moved there and shot a show. And then I got back, I did Sopranos. And then I got back, I did 24. And then I got back, I did Entourage. So being on a show, it's a job.
It's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment. What I want to do now is I want to create the world, show up in recurring roles, and me and my daughter explore the world. Italy's the first place.
Do you have one kid?
Yeah, her.
Just her.
It's like having 10.
Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding. I couldn't be any more luckier.
She's so lovely.
Thank you. I couldn't be, and I'm not saying that because it's my daughter, because I'd be the first to go, she's a fucking lazy, right? I'd say it.
But you also have a beautiful daughter. Are you very overprotective? How do you deal with guys going up to her?
I tell her at the window, what is this? What are you doing? I need my tips. Hey, pizza. And I make fun because I'm in the back sweating, making pizzas. I make every pizza. Don't go by me. I cook we make hundreds a night. I make every one.
Wow.
And she's at the register, so no one steals from us. Right? Mm-hmm. Keep the family up front. But anyway, I hear, hi, soda. And I'll be like, what are you doing? I got to make tips. She makes more money sometimes in tips than I make work in the truck. How did you make $200, $300? Pizza. And I hate it. And then people will be like, hey, grab your number from the truck. I'll be like, I'll put my head in there. Out the little window. Is that your dad? Because there's a big poster of me and her on the front of the truck.
Yeah.
So she was 8 in the poster, so people still think it's 10 years ago. So that's the poster for the brand. So people go, is that you and your dad? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't have to worry about her. She's got a great head on her shoulders. Her mom did a great job. I did, even though we weren't married. Her mom did a great job. She lived with me half the time. My mom she's an amazing person. She has a great work ethic. She goes to school at 7 a.m., gets out at 1, goes to work from 3 till 10, comes home, rinse and repeat, and does it every time. And then if I need her to come do the truck when we have these events, she takes off that day, she goes to school, goes back to the truck, does it, and then sometimes goes to work after the truck. Saves all her money, which I love. Saves all her money. So she's in a better position she'll be 20 next week. She's at a better position. And I don't say this because my daughter, I say this as a person. I encourage all young people. I get out there, I do a lot of motivational speaking for them, get out there. So she saves her money. She has it. So when she's going to get out of school in a year from now, she'll be out of school 2 years. She'll be out of school in 1 year. She's already did a year. She's going to have more saved because of her work, not because of me, her work. She's going to have way more of an education than most people. And she's going to have no student debt. It's already she got a massive break with that. So she's not going to come out of school 4 years with $200,000 in debt. She's going to come out of school after 2 years with zero debt, making $125,000 a year. Add on to what you have saved now, you're way ahead of everyone, not just kids. Continue that. Continue that till you're 30. Now I'm showing how to invest. Okay, we're going to do this. Now your money's in the bank. We're going to take it. Instead of getting 3%, we're going to get you 10%. By the time you're 30 and you keep chucking in, you'll have millions of dollars. Yours, that you worked for, not that daddy gave you. And if the pizza business is massive, it's yours. Here, I don't care. You understand? I'm not a money guy. Like, I don't care. I've had everything. I was making $30,000 a week when I was in 25 living in Hawaii. You know, I was making $30,000 a week on 24 for you. It don't matter. I don't care. It's not like I go, oh, I got money. Even now, I don't have a lot of money anymore because I support everyone. My mother, I supported. My daughter, you know, my ex-wife, I don't care. Money's not my ruler. Money's nice to have, but it's not my ruler.
But I really appreciate the relationship that you two have. My dad and I have a very similar relationship. And when I was a little girl, he would always take me to his meetings with him.
That's what I do with her, right?
He would always explain all of the important philosophies to me. I was a very shy kid, so he would make me go talk to strangers in work situations and try to shake the shyness out of me.
I do the same thing. I go, you gotta say something. She's looking at me like all weirded out. But yeah, that's what I do. And let me tell you, if you go to Getty Images and you type in Louis Lombardi, Ava Lombardi, there's pictures of me and her when she's 6 months at the Emmy parties. Boots on from the free gift bags and stuff.
That's adorable.
Until now. You see us now, we still 24/7 together going to big events, whatever.
It's such a special thing.
It is.
And I'm sure she appreciates it. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, she appreciates it.
Yeah.
I couldn't be any luckier than that. And I keep telling her when I'm old, you're going to chuck me in an old age home. And I'll be looking out the window every time you leave. Where you going?
Except she wouldn't do that because of the relationship that you guys have.
Right. But, you know, so I'm very blessed on every angle. My career has been amazing, even though I've had a tragic life. You know, and my book is based on tragedy to triumph. Every time there's a tragedy in my life, it becomes a massive positive. Even in Hollywood. I was fired. I was doing a show, Fantasy Island, and it bombed for ABC. It was the biggest show, $50 million show. I'm the star of it, me and Malcolm. I'm living in Hawaii, and I'm like, all of a sudden the show's tanking, no ratings. Everyone's blaming me. Oh, you're not funny. I go, I didn't say I was funny. You know, like, okay. And the show gets canceled. My first big show. I'm like, oh my God. I'm in Hawaii. I go, wow, this is terrible. The show got canceled. I got fired. This is terrible, right? I go, okay, let me go see my mom in New York, right? I was living in Hawaii. I had a lot of money. I was 25 years old. I'm like, even though you're making the money, you start to go, oh, wow. Like, you could feel like, okay, this is kind of tough, right? Okay, my first show. I get to New York, and I was supposed to, let me go back a second. I did a movie called Suicide Kings with Dennis Leary, Christopher Walken, everyone's in it. I was supposed to star in it. The guy didn't want me. My buddy was the writer, producer. He said, would you do one day on it for me? For $500, be an extra. I was like, okay, with Dennis Leary in the car. I'm in the car. Dennis Leary has 40 pages of lines. I have one guy going, yeah, boss. He gets the set. I get the set, $500, right? I get the set. Dennis Leary's like, I'm not saying any of this to the writer, director. I'm like, because the guy didn't want me in the role. Dennis Leary's like, me and this guy are going to improvise. I don't know him. I never know him. I know him here. I was like, okay, we improvise. I had no scenes in the movie. I was an extra. Yeah, boss. Right? 6 months later, I get a call. Come, you're in the movie. I go, no, the director called me. Yeah. And this guy was I'm the car. I get there. I go, holy cow. I'm in the whole movie. They took those one night of filming. They made it 8 scenes. So now I'm in the whole movie. And the role that I was supposed to be in got cut out. Again, energy, show up, 100 miles an hour, $500. So George Ann Walken, who's Christopher Walken's husband, you know, George Ann Walken is the casting director for Sopranos, Entourage, everything. She's the biggest casting director in the business. Christopher Walken's her husband. He was in the movie. She saw the movie. She loved me. So she called me in before Sopranos' first season. She goes, I want you to audition for the Sopranos. It's a show we're doing. I audition. I leave. A week later, I get Fantasy Island. So it pulls me out of Sopranos. I go to Hawaii. I live. Sopranos airs, biggest show on TV. I'm like, oh my God. This show fails. I would have been on there. Anyway, you don't look at stuff. You don't count the fucking broken stuff. So I go to New York. So show gets I go fly from Hawaii to New York to visit my mom. I'm in New York one day. Georgianne Walken's like, Louis in New York? We want to see him right now. I go, oh, shoot. This is pretty cool because Sopranos was now the biggest thing. First season was on. Now the second season they're casting. I go in. She's like, okay, I read. James Gandolfini reads with me. Okay, one scene, I have like 5. I go, is that it? He goes, yeah, you don't read anymore. I go, oh, God, I just got fired off a show. The show bombed. I'm thinking I'm bombing in the room. I leave. I get down to my car. They call me. You got the role. FBI agent. I was like, oh, my God. And what did that do? That started my whole career on TV because the executive producer from 24 saw me on Sopranos and put me on that. You get it? So one day for $500 turned into, I don't know how much money, but 2 massive shows and I won an Emmy. For $500, show up enthusiastic with energy. I do that every time. You pay me $500 or $500,000. I'm like, it's that athlete mindset. I'm going to run you over.
Yeah.
That's where I got that from.
Yeah, I mean, it's really an important point that you're making because a lot of times you have to work for free too.
Yeah.
And it pays off
and people go,
eventually.
Right, and people go, I ain't doing that for nothing. I go, you never know what's going to come out of stuff. I did that a movie Amongst Friends that launched my career for $0.
I did years and years and years of free work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You show up enthusiastic, show up 100 miles an hour, and always believe you can win. Even if it's the odds are, but always believe in your mind, I can win. I'm going to win. That's my mindset. I think about everything I do.
And it's so cliche. Enjoy the journey. It's not just about where you're headed, but it's so true.
Did you see my part? Did you see my interview on my thing? That's what I talk about, the journey.
Really?
I go, most people don't enjoy the journey. Yeah, it's on my page, right? The one that I just posted up last week. And I talk about the journey. Most people don't appreciate the journey. You never know what can happen tomorrow. I say that all the time. You could get sick. You could pass away. You could something. Enjoy the journey. Most people are so uptight. They get something. They want to know more. Enjoy that process. I do that. I definitely enjoy everything I do. I get on Sopranos, I'm out eating with all the guys. Like, these are my friends. These are not actors. I know Big Pussy since I'm 13. I knew Jimmy before Sopranos.
Yeah.
They ain't like hanging out with actors.
Were you close to James Gandolfini as well?
Yeah. So.
That was a tough loss.
Yeah. That was a tough loss, and again, they worked him to death, but he had his demons as well. But anyway, great guy to all his friends. Idolized people, love him to death, even before Sopranos, and I knew him way before. And when I went in there, he fought for me in 2 seconds. He goes, he ain't got to read anymore. And I thought, oh my God, I'm bombing. He's like, he's done. All right, you can leave. And I was in the room with David Cho, all these people going, oh my God, this is terrible. I didn't know it was a positive. When I went, I got down in my car, they called me, said, you got the role. Started working immediately. And I got to have the biggest disaster from Fantasy Island. $50 million show, bombed ABC. They blamed me because I wasn't funny. And I was like, okay.
So who exactly was blaming you?
Just the network, the people running the show in 1997. But you don't listen. I don't let the outside voices thing. I was just more depressed because I'm going, oh my God, I'm making $30,000 a week. I'm 25. I'm living in Hawaii and I'm not going to get $25,000 a week anymore. There's a lot of hustling in the Bronx for $25,000 a week, $30,000 a week, So anyway, it turned out to be the biggest thing. Everything in my life is. When all my friends got arrested in 1993, I thought it was the end of the world. It was the beginning of my world. When it looked like everyone was gone and it was the most sad, the most misery, families were just devastated, and it launched my whole life because it was able to break me free from that. Even though it looked disastrous, it turned my life around. 97, when the show got canceled, I thought I was going to never work again. Next day, I'm on the biggest show in TV history. Right? Every time something negatively happens, it turns out to be a massive plus in my life. That's why when bad things happen, I go, okay, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Shit's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that it happens every time. Okay, we know the problem. I got fired. What's the solution? Oh, I got on another show.
And that perspective just helps you through all of the ups and downs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Again, always stay mind strong. Mental toughness is essential to success.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Once you break down your mental side, you'll have nothing. And I see people in the best shape. I'm in great. Look at me. I'm at the gym every day. You say one thing, they're in the room crying, depressed, sad. I go, what good is all this if you don't have this? Right?
It's the most important part for
Right.
sure.
Right. It's the most important part is mental toughness. How do I win every play, not every game? That's my mindset. And I got that from sports. I show up again, in sports so ready. And that's what I do with my auditions. I show up ready.
Yeah.
Might not look it, but I am.
It's the thing I've seen most frequently, I think, in this industry, that most of the time people are standing in the way of their own success. And you see it. You can actually call it.
Yeah. Actually, I can see it. I tell them, I go, it's fear. Most
Yeah.
people are afraid of failure. Most people are afraid of success. I'm not afraid of anything. I do everything wholeheartedly, 100%. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, the next thing will. And my whole life has proven that. And again, that's where my book comes in, breaking the cycle. Break the cycle. If you have a family with addiction or anything, set your kids.
Sometimes that defeatist mentality is something you're conditioned with from childhood.
Right.
So a lot of times people aren't even conscious of the fact that they are falling into that victimhood so that they could break out of it. You really have to make them conscious of the fact that no, you can take proactive steps to actually change the trajectory of your life.
But people are comfortable with failure and what'd you call it just now? You just said people are comfortable with that mindset of not victimhood.
Yeah.
People are comfortable with that. Oh, poor me. Yeah. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't consider anything I do failing. It's a lesson. Everything I do that I don't succeed in is a massive lesson. Right?
But maybe it just is the attention that it brings to constantly be like,
Yeah.
poor me,
Oh,
feel
look,
sorry for
hey.
me. Yeah.
Don't call me.
I hate people feeling sorry
Me
for
too.
me. Again, I don't know
Right.
where that comes from. Maybe it's the whole immigrant child thing. I don't know. But I hate
it.
people to know my problems.
Yeah, I don't tell anyone. I don't want to. Don't call me and ask me how I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
I'll go through it alone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Me and her will go through it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I don't tell anyone. Oh, I got this. I got that. I got my sick. I don't want to hear anything.
I'll
I don't
tell
want
my
you
husband, I'll tell my parents. And
Right. That's it. Most important people in your life.
Yeah.
I don't want any of my outside, because you know what? Most don't give a shit, and most are rooting against you.
I think that's
Most
the
are
thing
going,
with
he's
that.
sick. Yeah. Oh, I feel bad.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Oh my God!
Tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more. Come on. So the less you tell people, it goes back to I tell them when I die, just throw my ashes in the ocean. I don't want to be buried. I don't want a funeral. I just want to. I don't even want to tell anyone. Don't even post it. Nothing. Just let me be.
Do you think that's because you don't believe that people genuinely care?
They don't care.
But
Your own family don't care. A lot of your outside secondary family, your uncles, a lot of people are not rooting for you. I had a lot of people on my sides of my family that don't root for me. These are my family. You think the people I was supposed to kill, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, he's an actor. Oh yeah, because they never left the Bronx, so they're bitter and they're envious of you. A lot of family sometimes is your worst enemy. I hate to be honest, but 90%, your biggest enemies are your family. And I don't mean your mom. I don't mean your husband. I mean the secondary families, cousins, aunts. So, oh, yeah, look, she thinks what she is. She's in Hollywood. I used to get that all the time. Oh, yeah, look, he's in Hollywood. I used to go, yeah, how's your construction job? I'm in Hawaii doing a show. You want to fucking talk shit? I'll talk shit. Oh, yeah, I'm a construction. Yeah, you are. Yeah, I'm on a plane on my way to Hawaii. I'm on a plane on my way to Japan. Where are you doing? Because the family, sometimes they talk, even at he thinks who he is. No, I don't. Just because you're afraid of leaving the Bronx and I wasn't, you don't like me because of that, because you would never take a shot. That's fact.
And again, it's not about you. It's about them.
It's about them.
And the risks they didn't take, the things they didn't
Insecurities,
do. Yeah.
afraid of doing something, and that's the way life is, and I've accepted that. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's on your side, especially your family. A lot of your friends are not your friends. I teach her that. And she's good like that, too. She picks up a lot. I teach her like I'm teaching street dudes like I did in the Bronx. When 30 dudes were in the streets and I was like running 30, and they would all be in a huddle going, what do we need to do? This is what we need to do. I do that with her. This is what we need to do. She's like, okay.
It's so funny the things we do to try to prepare our kids.
Right.
My son's 6, and I was literally going on a walk with him a few days ago, and I was telling him, I'm like, when you go to driving school, the first thing they teach you is about defensive driving, and that's how you have to live your life. You have to assume that the person in front of you is going to make a mistake, and you have to correct that person's mistake before they even make it. And I'm like, what am I doing to my 6-year-old?
What you're doing is you're teaching them that not everything is peaches and cream.
Yeah.
Shit happens. How do you not only ignore it, because you can't ignore it, but how do you deal with it? Adversity goes back to that.
Yeah.
I look at life as, if you could deal with adversity and on a continuous basis, you could deal with anything in life. Most people crumble when something bad happens. They go into a thing, they go sit in the couch and they cry for 5 years. I have any adversity, the first thing I'm doing is, how do I get this fixed? What are we doing? And I do the same thing with her. It's kind of funny you bring up the driving thing. I've been out here 33 years. I just got my license last week, and I failed my permit, the permit test they give you, because I transferred my New York license from and she had to come with me. She had to show me. She goes, here, just study these tests. So I did 36 questions. I did 20 of them. I probably answered 1,000 questions, and I failed the first because I didn't. She's like, no, you got just to look through the thing. And she had to come to help me fill out the applications. Because, again, some things I'm not great at. And then I went back the second time after she showed me the thing. And I did 20 tests. And I got everything. And the questions started repeating. So when I went back the next day with her, she came back with me again. I passed the permit. So now I got my LA license after 33 years.
Congratulations.
People go to me, still got that New York? Yeah, why? I pull it out. How long you been here? 33 years. But so anyway,
Yeah, sometimes you're good at teaching these lessons and sometimes it just doesn't work out. When my husband moved to LA, I told him, I'm like, when you take the driving test, I know it's going to be counterintuitive to drive slowly, but don't speed. Make sure that you are driving under the speed limit. Even if it feels awkward, just drive slowly. I told him to drive slowly so much that he got cut off for driving too slowly.
Listen to you was the first mistake how to drive. You're a woman.
But I think I'm a pretty good driver, okay? I don't fit that stereotype. And I'm the best at parallel parking. No one could beat my parallel parking. So.
But again, you know what? I didn't have to take the driver test. I just took the permit test. I failed the first time, and I'm like, oh my God, this is kind of hard.
Yeah.
I was like clicking at the computer. But then the second time I went back, I did it for 2 days, taking test after test, because she showed me, here's the permit thing I did with mine. And again, when I got back, click, I'm done. I finally got my license.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, now I'm an LA driver.
Yeah, now you're an LA driver.
I had 19 cars. I've been here forever. I had so many cars. I've had not one. I don't even know how they gave me insurance.
Oh, yeah.
But no one cares.
Yeah.
As long as you pay.
Yeah.
But
the only currency that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So again, my whole takeaway from all of it is believe in what you do, believe in who you are, never quit, and never listen to anyone. Because most people you have are going to give you negative advice. Why are you going to do that? Shut up. That's what I used to tell people. Shut up in the Bronx. We an actor? Shut up? Okay. Because they know I'd get violent and aggressive if you start talking nasty. So that's my biggest thing, what I tell people now. Never quit. Always believe it can happen. If you don't, then don't do anything. Sit in your room and be depressed. And
nobody really knows your potential. Don't count on people to believe in you and to encourage you.
Right.
Everyone's going according to their own life experiences, to their own potential, to their own limitations, to their own perceptions of how high or low the ceiling is. So
Right. And not everybody's going to have the
same
enthusiasm, drive, or passion that you do.
Yeah.
For whatever it is. Most people just go, oh, yeah, all right.
True.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Same.
I'm like the leader of I was always the leader on the streets. So now and my mindset in Hollywood was always like,
encouraging people.
Yeah, come on.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been so nice getting
My
to know
pleasure.
you.
It's been great. And I saw your podcast with the woman from Portos, who's one. I can't tell you how much I love that woman. When I watched your stuff with her, I hit you up. I said, this woman's amazing, right?
Betty Porto. She's
Betty
incredible.
Porto was one of my heroes. I love her. I've been eating her place forever. And what she talked about, keeping the prices regular and keeping it so people could eat and people could do it. And I just fell in love with her watching your podcast. And now I'm here talking to you.
Well, it's so great that she actually connected us without even knowing it.
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's been great getting to know you. Thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll continue to be friends. And
Yes,
I'd love to know
absolutely.
more about the projects that you have coming up. And who knows, maybe
Yeah.
you could shoot
Yeah.
some stuff here
I
at
got
the
a great
studio.
location here. You could probably shoot a bunch of verticals here, which is the new frontier of the business of Hollywood.
Are you getting into verticals?
You know, I don't really. I mean, people are coming to me and wanted to do them. You know, and they want to do this and have good ideas. But I come from a world where it's like great quality TV projects and now minute and a half episodes. I talk quicker than that, and how are you going to get one word out? I'd be like, I don't know, cut. What do you mean, it's over? Right? They have 2-minute episodes and 20 episodes, and I mean, probably will just because people I'm involved with want to do stuff like that in the business. I will, but I'm working on pitching shows where I want to do my show still. Whether they work or not, it doesn't matter. You know, I'll still pitch them like every day, you know?
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to shoot here, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Our home is your home.
Thank you so much, and I loved it. This was a great interview. It really was. I feel comfortable, you know? It's nice.
Likewise.
But
Yeah,
thank
when
you.
you click, you click.
Right, exactly, right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this episode and you want to help us grow, all you need to do is subscribe to our channel and drop a comment.